Hello and welcome everybody to the season finals of the Challenger Cup. It is once again time to find the winner of this season of Challenger Cups. It feels like the season has just started, dude. The time flies. Anyways, here we are. We have the 32 most successful duelists of the Challenger Cup. So, and we're going to try and find out who is going to be the best. We're going to play a top 32 bracket today. And it is going to be best of threes in each of these rounds, as well as everyone has one deck, if I understood. I did read into the rules this morning just to see exactly what the format is. We've got 32 players, one deck each, and we have one winner that we're going to crown at the end of all of this. We have a lot of really good matchups in this top 32, of course, because all of these players have qualified for this tournament. This is the one tournament out of the Challenger Cups that you do need to qualify for. Of course, you know, a lot of people always ask, how do you play in Challenger Cups? And well, usually you don't need an invite or a qualification or anything like that. Challenger Cups are usually completely free to play. And if you want to join the Discord server to play future Challenger Cups, you can go !Challenger Cup in my chat right now. There is a command for it if you want to join the Challenger Cup Discord server. This tournament today, however, you do need a qualification for. And let's jump into our top 32. I figured Bronas versus Bell, our first feature match in the top 32. Like I said, we have a lot of good matchups here in top 32. But let's just see what these two have brought to the tournament today. Also, everyone watching from Europe today or anywhere else where it's extremely hot, don't forget to hydrate today. We do need to drink a lot of water at these temperatures. We kick things off with a Radiant Typhoon Vision, discarding a Lemnis Gate. Okay, we got a Sky Striker duelist here. And we go into the main phase, we activate Engage, and we chain Linkage. So we are gonna have 3 spells in the graveyard here. Get the in-game music in here. Let me know if the volume is fine or if I should turn it up more. Alright, so far everything here is resolving. Bronas not really doing anything about any of this so far. So phenomenal start for Sky Striker here. You love to see it. Bronas, I feel like recently has been playing a lot of Branded and or Draco Tail. Which is, oh, maybe that's something that Bell knows about, because we do go for a Shark Cannon here on turn 1. That is a great card to have if this ends up being branded. We normal summon Ray. Oh my god, yes, and we do go into 0. This, of course, will get us another copy of Engage, but also puts Ray in the graveyard, which is exactly where you want it to be. And that is going to be one more Engage, which if we don't draw into any more, then this is going to be the end of the turn here for Sky Striker. Usually, this is where you start setting all your spells and pass the turn. Unless you get lucky to find another Engage, but it looks like we are indeed in the setting portion of the turn here. Let's see how many we've got. We know there's a Widow, we know there's a Shark Cannon, and we know there's a Lemnis Gate. I don't think we know about any Widow Anchors. But Widow Anchor is typically the first one you get. So I would assume that there is already one. And there is a Branded in High Spirits in the draw phase here from Bronas, so it is branded. But there is an Ash Blossom as well in Bell's hand here. Okay. Ash behind the board, you love to see it. And High Spirit goes down. Now the question is, did we already draw access to the Fallen of the White Dragon without that? Oh, it's actually not just branded. It's a Draco Tail version, but with a bigger branded package indicated by the Branded in High Spirits. Interesting. This, I think is good for them here, or for Bronas here, because you really want powerful spells to activate, like Ketu Draco Tail here. That's a really good one to have. And we do go for an Urgula, and we do know there's more monsters in hand because we could activate the High Spirit. So it was a Golden Sword Soul. This is a big branded package in this Draco Tail deck. Maybe could even be more of a... It really could be more of a branded deck with a small Draco Tail package, maybe, is the feeling I'm getting from this. Because who really plays Golden Sword Soul in their Draco Tail deck? We get a random pop on these back rows. Let's see what we get. It is the Widow Anchor that I assumed was there. And now we know it was in fact there. Interesting decision to set the Rahu into this column where we're not destroying, because, you know, this could always be an infinite impermanence. It's not a very common card in Sky Striker, but you never know. So if you wanted to pop this card on the far left, then I think you should have put the spell here, but okay. And there is actually a second Widow Anchor here that we are chaining to the tag out effect of the Sky Striker A0. So we did have double Widow Anchor, which explains the decision to go for Lemnis Gate and Shark Cannon with your searches. At the same time, that also kind of tells Bronas that two of these remaining three cards are probably Shark Cannon and Lemnis Gate, and one unknown, right? Could be anything. And we are using the Shark Cannon immediately here onto the Golden Sword Soul. Of course, the reason being probably that we would be summoning a Ray and a Rose right now, which will occupy our main monster zone, so we won't be able to use those Sky Striker spells, except for Lemnis Gate. Summon 2. We want to get rid of that Rahu Draco Tail. Could be Droplet, could be Fallen at the Virtuous. There's a lot of cards that Sky Striker could reasonably have here. Some versions play Super Polymerization. Could also just be the third Widow Anchor, you never know. And here's a normal summon of Aluber. Okay, I mean, we can still get that branded fusion. And it looks like we are resolving, so I think that means probably no Droplet. But there is branded fusion now for Bronas. And there is no more Ash Blossom to stop it because we've already used it this turn. Most importantly, the Secretarion Dragon is negated. Otherwise, that would be a great card to have against branded / Draco Tail. That's a huge branded package. It is a huge branded package. Like I said, I would assume it's just a small Draco Tail engine in a branded deck, honestly, from what I've seen. Like maybe like one Urgula, one Pan, couple of Phimenas, the spells, 1 or 2 traps. Mululus, I don't know if Lucius is even there. Three new cards announced. We can take a look at new cards later after the tournament is over. Yeah, I can stay a little longer. If there's anything cool. All right, branded fusion resolves here. Also, Nonoka, thank you so much for the 10. Appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Appreciate you a lot. Okay, and branded fusion, actually, this is something, this is another indicator. This is more of a branded deck than a Draco Tail deck. We're not sending any Draco Tail cards for the branded fusion. We're not going for like an Albion the Sanctifier or Albion the Branded Dragon. We are making a Rindbrum by combining Fallen of the White Dragon with Tri-Brigade Springan's Kit. And Tri-Brigade Springan's Kit is going to be able to bring back that Fallen of the White Dragon, which is going to summon out an Ecclesia from the most likely deck here. But it also stopped the Kagari from activating, is the interesting thing here, right? Because the Kagari was summoned in response to the branded fusion, but the Rindbrum causing Bell to not activate that Kagari is actually huge here, because the Kagari not resolving or not being activated in the first place is a big deal here in terms of no follow-up for Sky Striker potentially. This is something that can happen sometimes where you simply don't get engaged back to your hand or something, and you don't have a guaranteed way to kick things off next turn. do tribute the Incredible Ecclesia to have the option to summon out a Fallen of Albaz. Now, we do know that there is a Lemnis Gate face down, so at the very minimum, we can definitely use that to return that Albaz to the hand. Or, even better, the Fallen at the Virtuous is activated here to destroy it. So we are not getting off that fusion, of course. We did discard Branded Retribution, which can get us a card back from the graveyard. Why did Kagari not trigger? Bell chose not to use the Kagari because Bronas summoned Rindbrum, and Rindbrum says, when a Fusion Synchro XYZ or Link monster is activated, you can negate the effect and return a monster from field to the hand. And they didn't want to give Bronas that opportunity to negate and bounce something. So that's why I think Bronas made the decision to summon the Rindbrum in the first place, to check that Kagari add back. Oh, we even... Dude, this is basically a branded deck. Like, from what I'm seeing, this is just a branded deck with some Draco Tail cards. I would honestly be... I would be really interested in seeing how big that Draco Tail package even is. Because it seems like the branded package is so big. Okay, most importantly though, I don't think Bronas has the means to clear the entire board here, because the Fallen of the White Dragon is in defense position, which it had to be in defense position because Tribrigand Springant's Kit only revives in defense position, actually. We don't have enough monsters to attack over the Kagari, the Ray, and the Rose, as well as, of course, there is still that Lemnis Gate to bounce a couple monsters. I'm guessing 3/5 mana, 1 Pan, 1 Urgula, 4 spells. Really? So, I mean, I guess it makes sense because branded, like if we're playing Aluber and stuff, we do have a lot of normal summons already. So there is a high chance that we're not even playing Lucius or Mululu just because they are normal summons and you don't want to have that many. I could really see that, yeah. At the same time, is it really triple 5 mana then? Because if you only play such a small Draco Tail package, 5 mana on average is not a great draw, really. Like, I would actually go a step further and say, like, if you're playing a small Draco Tail package, it's probably just 1 5 mana. Because the chances of you drawing 5 mana plus a Draco Tail, like going second, to use it as an interruption are very, very small. But I think you would want to play 1, because you can easily fuse with it from the deck and then add it back with Urgula. 5 mana for Albaz and a light for Albion into Mirror Jade still cooks. It doesn't really cook. You still spend 3 cards in your hand and you don't really get much back from it. It's still rather risky. It works, but at the same time, also you only have 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz in your deck to begin with, so it's not that likely you draw that either. Okay, and we did get rid of the Ray here from Bronas' side, and now we get rid of the Rose as well, which this means that Bell here is going to need a Sky Striker engine card to get back into this game. At the moment, we've done a great job at clearing the board from Bronas' side. But if there is a follow-up Ray, Rose, or anything like that, it's looking pretty good. We do resolve Branded in High Spirits. We search a Fallen of the White Dragon for follow-up. So here's the thing. This game is not going to end this turn unless Bell is going to pull off a crazy turn here. And Branded, typically Branded is one of the few decks that actually genuinely outgrinds Sky Striker. It's hard to do such a thing. It's really hard to do such a thing. But I think Branded is one of the decks that can outgrind Sky Striker. But we do have the follow-up Ray here, and we do make that Kagari, and we will get back that Engage, which we left in the graveyard when we resolved Lemnis Gate last turn. We left an Engage there, so we can add it back with Kagari. Well done, and now we have access to Engage again. Now, what does Branded have in terms of interruptions? We have We do have a Rindbrum that can revive a Fallen of Albaz. The problem is we know that Bell has a Fallen at the Virtuous in hand because we searched it with the Albion in the end phase. So using with Fallen of Albaz, not really an option here. Oh, we just drew another engage off that engage. Okay, that's convenient. That's convenient. And there's that Shark Cannon again. I thought that was going to be a third one for a second. For a second, I thought it was going to be a third one. Alright, and we go for Sky Striker Ace Zeke just to get that Secretarion off the board. And we are going to banish that Dogmatica Ecclesia until the next end phase. Next turn's end phase, rather. And this, I guess, lets us clear the Fallen of Albaz. But we are, in fact, not yet going for game, but there is still a linkage in hand. So maybe we can. We are going in. We are going in, and if we go for a... Let me think. We have a 0 here with 3,000. That attacks, puts Bronas down to 5. Then we use the 0 to summon Ray and Rose, which would be another 3,000, which would put Bronas down to 2. And then the Ray can tag out into a 1,500 attacker, but not quite enough. We do need another card. Also, there is a Gran in the graveyard that we have to keep in mind. So if the 0 tags out, we would have to... Okay, Shard Cannon on the Gran first. But there's also that Rindbrum. There's also that Rindbrum to put some monsters onto the field. So why... Okay, why are we using the 0 in response here? Because now we don't get to destroy anything. If we waited for the Albaz to hit the field, we could have destroyed a card. Now the Rindbrum is going to resolve, summon the Albaz, and now we just didn't get a destruction with the 0. Wait, and we didn't even target the... Did we not target the Grand Guignol with the Shark Cannon? Oh, we targeted the Rindbrum. Okay. Hold up. Here's another Ecclesia, confirming we're playing 2. And this is also bringing out Quem. And the thing is, both Quem and Ecclesia have 1,500 defense. We do not get to run over these. And Branded Sword. Okay. Are we adding back the Golden Sword Soul for some battle phase shenanigans? Yes, it looks like it. And from nothing essentially, Bronas rises and brings out all of these branded cards. And is looking completely favored here, actually, I would say. We are going to tribute the Ray here, but that is going to trigger the Quem. Unless we chain Fallen at the Virtuous to it. No, we do not. Summons out Amatsu. And Quem is going to trigger. Trying to bring back the Tribrigade Springan's kit. And that's bigger than Amatsu. Amatsu still has the ability to attack and destroy something, but we choose not to do it. Maybe it's maybe we're low on time? I'm not sure. Here's Azalea. That's gonna destroy the Quem. I'm surprised we didn't use Fallen at the Virtuous to destroy the Quem. That would have prevented the kit to come back as well. Here's Shizuku. The Ray could have just tagged out into Shizuku directly, though, right? sending Ecclesia to destroy the Springen's kit. Springen's kit is going to activate now, and this end phase is looking pretty nice. And now Albaz comes back, and now there's no more Fallen at the Virtuous to counter it. Oh, it's resolving. Oh no. Oh no. We're losing control of this game really fast. And here goes Ray, banished now. Talents. What can we do? Draw 2 cards, okay. Another engage. The third one off the top there. Okay, Lemnis Gate. Maybe we can salvage this. The end phase is gonna hurt though. Now we use the Ecclesia in the graveyard to get rid of that Mirror Jade. Pretty clean. And it might still be open, you know. Lemnis Gate is a great removal card against Branded, because you can answer those fusion monsters really well. And also Bronas is reaching a position where some of the key cards are banished now. Retribution, Branded Sword, the recycling is going to be a little limited, but we do still get a Fallen at the Virtuous, and we get an Ecclesia back to hand in the end phase here. So not bad. But still not over yet, I would say. We have Aluber, which was returned to the hand by the Lemnis Gate last turn, which is a great resource to have this turn again. Also is next to a level 4 tuner, so we do have some synchro lines available right away. And there is a Drollin Lockbird now. That typically is not a very good card against Branded. I will say that is unlikely to matter. It's good against some other decks in the format, but not against Branded. And we are going into that level 8 Synchro Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon. And it resolves. This means in the end phase we're going to get it back, as well as the Ecclesia. The main deck one. Summons out Cartesia. Golden Sword Soul is back in the graveyard. That can revive Quem. They're all coming back. Slowly but surely. Quem effect. Sends Albion. High Spirits from hand means we're special summoning the Albion. I love when this effect comes up. There it comes, and it is Fallen of Albaz on the field, so we can fuse with the Cartesia. We can fuse to make a an Albaz fusion, or we can just use the fact that it is a dragon to make Chaos Star Source Dragon. Okay, we make a dragon that devours the dogma using a 5 mana in hand. So we can set, if we play multiple Rahus, we can set another copy of Rahu now. And we have that Urgula in the grave from earlier. We have Urgula in grave from earlier to get that 5 mana back. Oh wait, no, Rahu is the limited one. I meant like we can get another Ketu. We can get another Ketu, yeah. It's because in TCG it's the other way around. I keep mixing it up. And now we have that dragon that devours the dogma, which we can use to mess with the graveyards a little bit. We can recycle our own cards, or we can maybe get rid of... there's so many spells and monsters in the graveyard for Sky Striker. We can't really make that Lemnis Gate unusable. So it's probably just recycling some of your own cards. Yep, we get that Branded Sword and Retribution that I mentioned earlier back into the deck. In TCG, both are at 1 now, but it used to be the other way around. Yeah. You're right. But it used to be in TCG they made the other decision as in Master Duel. That's why I got it twisted sometimes. Ooh, Sign Lord Omega hits the field here. Triggering the Springans kit. And we are going to get rid of that last mystery card from hand for Bell here. We want to know what's up with that. And we chain Fallen and the Virtuous to get rid of that Omega, I would assume. Sending Albion the Branded Dragon. This is the 3rd copy of the Fallen and the Virtuous, so this Albion is not going to have a search target in Branded in Sky Striker anymore. I wonder what the extra deck is like. I'm guessing it's no Draco Tails. Well, it can't be no Draco Tails, right? Because Rahu does have to summon a Draco Tail. So there has to at least be one Arthalion. Or Gulamel, but I would assume it's Arthalion. We need at least one Arthalion, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, and slowly but surely, Bronas is working his way through the resources of Bell here. We see the Sky Striker matchup, or the branded outgrinding Sky Striker in action here. Fallen of the White Dragon activates. And this is going to put enough damage to win the game on the board. We do know there's a Lemnis Gate, though, on the field. But that is going to be forced to be activated now, essentially. And, I mean, of course, the Dragon that devours the Dogma is unaffected. So, all we're doing here is we're going to be returning a whole bunch of main deck monsters to the hand. So we're not even really getting rid of these cards. And in the long run, everything is just going to keep coming back. We shuffle a lot of resources back into the extra deck. And we bounce all those monsters back. So we're just going to take 3,500 damage from this Dragon that devours the Dogma. And I mean, you never count out a Sky Striker deck, because they could in theory like draw engage into engage, add Kagari, add back engage, and so on. But it's looking rough. We do even push for some more damage here with the Secretarion Dragon. Go to main phase 2, activate that Secretarion Dragon. Trying to bring back probably Cartesia by recycling the Albion. Yep, there it goes. And we are in the end phase, their favorite place to be. Set Retribution from the deck. High Spirits back to hand. And Ecclesia returns to the field, and the other Ecclesia should also return from the Zeke. Yep. Branded's Grind is near infinite. Branded's Grind, I'm pretty sure on paper, if you go completely uninterrupted, I'm pretty sure Branded's Grind is technically infinite, because you can just keep remaking the Dragon that devours the Dogma. And if you play 2, they can recycle each other. Plus 1 more card every time you do it. Plus, like, Lubellion shuffles back a bunch of material when you try to make it. Like, you can make this via Lubellion, which lets you recycle 3 cards. This can summon from the graveyard. Quem can summon from the graveyard. In Bronas's deck, the Secretarion can also summon from the graveyard. And yeah, and a lot of the cards add themselves back from graveyard to the hand. So yeah, and Retribution shuffles back too and adds back as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pretty close to infinite, if it's not infinite. Graveyard effect of this as well shuffles back 2 cards. So All right, we make Amatsu to counteract that Mirror Jade a little bit, I suppose. And now we activate the engage. We add it back with the Kagari, and this is our way back into this game. It's a long way. It's a long way back into this game. We need to do a lot of engages this turn in order to get back into it. We need like more copies of Talons probably. Upstart is not technically getting us anywhere, but sure, we'll take it. We do need a lot of help in this. I think the win con is timer LP. I mean, here's the thing. We are playing best of threes, and this is game one. And I think that is already a little bit of a problem because, I mean, this matchup is very grindy, as we can see. And they started with 45 minutes. They are already down to 13 minutes. So this game one has been going on for over 30 minutes already. And it is still game one. So, yeah. Oh, that's not great. Branded Retribution is going to negate and destroy the Shark Cannon. Therefore, the Shark Cannon is not able to be sent for the linkage anymore. And now the Mirror Jade is going to banish the Amatsu. And now we have nothing to send for linkage, so we might just be, it might just be over. This might be where it ends. How do time rules work? Well, if time is called, the player with more life points wins the game. I don't know what would happen if they were still in game one. Using 0 to add here, which opens it up to being fused with the Albaz. Did we draw a way to prevent that? We did draw Droplet. Okay. Okay, we can negate the Fallen of Albaz here. I mean, technically you can just negate whatever, because the Albaz is not resolving anyways. But we do just have Engage and a Dream. Engage and a Dream. And the problem is we've already used 0 and Kagari this turn, so we're not getting that many more engaged unless we draw all of them. Okay, Lemnis Gate. How many can we target? Problem is, if you chain linkage here and this is Fallen into Virtuous, you just destroy the... Oh, okay. That has to be the best draw. I mean, okay. It cannot possibly be the best draw because the best draw is another engage to search that. Like, there were at least 2 better draws in the deck, which were the other 2 engages. And I don't think that was enough. We needed more engages there to get back into it. All right, and that is a long game one, but Bronas takes it here in the top 32. Stressful start to these players' top 32, I would say. I mean, over 30 minutes for that first game is gonna make it a little bit awkward here in the next couple games, I would assume, because I don't even know if Brandon and Sky Striker are capable of producing a quick game, really. So here we go. We got Bell going first here. Don't worry about Bronas choosing second there. That is because these players can decide who goes first or second after they lose a game. So Bell chose going first here. So Bronas sent Bell first. We do open Ray, which is good, and Rose, which is not so good. But all right, together they make 0. We just ignore the fact that Ray can do that on her own as well already, but all right. We do make Camellia here to get engage access that way. We actually sent Lemnis Gate. We already have engage, it seems like. We're just trying to get some spells rolling. We also go through linkage, and now we go for engage, but this only makes sense if we have fallen into oh no, the desires is engraved. This is the 3rd spell. Okay, wonderful. Searching Anchor with the first engage. We still have Kagari and Zero open this turn, so we are going to see multiple engages resolving for a draw here. Earl, welcome. We've seen, I have bad news for you so far. We haven't seen a single rat here so far. But no one tell Earl that this is just the first round we're watching. Let's just pretend like we've been watching these games all day and we saw no rat here. All right, and here is the linkage into the Zero engage one more time. We add the engage from the graveyard because that leaves us with a higher chance of drawing another one from the deck. Maybe no rats, but have we seen Bunny Blast? Dude, that's not a real card, is it? That's not a real Yu-Gi-Oh card. You're making that up. Okay, set 4 this time. It's a worse opener than in game 1, actually. In game 1, we had 5 with three cards in hand. And we even had Ash Blossom in game 1. Let's see if we have another one in game 2 here. Starting things off for Bronas with Albion the Shrouded Dragon. Sending Fallen of the White Dragon. Drawing a card. This puts an Albaz in graveyard, essentially, for Cartesias. We have Drolan Lockbird again. But, I mean, actually, in this case, it could matter because Bronas could be holding something like a Ketu Draco Tail. In the Draco Tail version of this deck, there is a chance that this matters. You never know. We just go with Branded Fusion, though, and there is an Ash Blossom as well. We just go first with Droll and Ash like it's our job this game, or this match. And I do think the Droll is probably manageable, but the Ash hurts. The Ash on Branded Fusion hurts because the sad part about this interaction is that Branded Fusion still locks you into fusions even if it gets ashed, so we still can't do any synchro plays. We changed Super Poly though. That's something. It's still it looks fancier than it is because it's just the ray is just gonna come back and we can just make 0 again. It's not really that great. We do get into our branded engine here a little bit, though. We do have the Albion in the graveyard now. We have the Fallen of the White Dragon. There is a Widow Anchor now onto that Fallen of the White Dragon. Wait, did we not activate Ray Engrave? What am I missing? We didn't activate Ray Engrave. Why is that? Do not trigger. Ah, okay. Maybe we're afraid of this summoning out Quem. Okay, yeah, you know that maybe that is the reasoning. I could see that. If the card in hand is guaranteed follow-up, then I could see that. Wanted Anchor Life for Albaz. I mean, the anchor is always live because you can just bring back the Ray, and then when the Albaz hits the field and activates, you just chain Ray, chain Anchor. That's how it works. So it wouldn't have been a problem. But I think the reason is we don't want to give the Gran any extension. We don't want this to banish itself to summon Quem to do whatever that we can't control from there. And we just bounce it with the Fallen at the Virtues now. Okay, this I only like this play though if we have a play in hand. If we don't have a play in hand, then I'm not a fan of this. Okay, we drew Vision off the top. But do we have a play in hand or not? This card called by the grave. We do have an engage. Okay. Don't know if we had. I mean, we didn't have that already. We must have drawn that. And it looks like we actually needed Ray access. We didn't have a guaranteed play. We just made that decision. I mean, it was a little risky, but it did get rewarded here. It was a little risky, though. Let it be known. Ray is going to turn into a Kagari. How long is left on the clock? 4 minutes and 22 seconds. As of now. So there's a realistic... What happens if I remember correctly? Let me just double check with the rules though. But I think if time is called in this one, I think Bronas just wins. I do think Bronas just wins if time is called and one player is up 1-0. At least that's how it used to be for a long time. Yeah. So as long as Bronas, I mean, the game is still very, very open. It's still looking like anyone's game here, to be honest. But I think if time is called during this game and Bell doesn't win it in time, then Bronas just wins. No matter the life points. You can't add engage off of engage. Yeah, but if you believe hard enough, you can draw engage with engage. And that's basically like adding the engage with engage. It's kind of like the same thing, yeah? Alright, Droplet sent desires to stop the Fallen of the White Dragon from summoning out an Ecclesia monster. I mean, also, Bronas at the moment does have higher life points. Even if that were to matter, but it doesn't. Okay, so as of now, there's 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know if we get through Bronas's end phase in that time. Branded Sword! On field effect! Summons tokens with 2500 attack, 2000 defense. I've never seen what this token looks like. Is it just the picture of Branded Sword? Yeah, it's just Branded Sword. Okay. I've never seen the sword token, but it is gonna make sure that Bronas is gonna stay at higher life total than Bell, and with the time ticking down and the branded end phase to come, I think there's nothing that can stop Bronas from moving on to the top 16 here. It was a well-fought match, and game one already taking over 30 minutes certainly didn't help. Wait, did this end phase just happen? Did this end phase just happen? I don't know when the last time I saw a branded player just move through the end phase like that, but okay. Can't believe this. And there is Lucius in the deck. Okay. The one copy. Well. Here's Shark Cannon in response. Trying to banish Tri-Brigade Springen's kit. Because we're sending it for Droplet. We can still respond with the Artesia, potentially. Oh no, we sent the monster as well. And we are, as of now, in overtime for our top 32. which, I mean, Bronas higher life points in game 2, so by the time rules, he would also win game 2. But I think as if you go into time, I just reread the rules to make sure. There's also branded fusion, so it's likely Bronas is winning anyways. But if you win game 1 and there's no winner at the end of game 2, life points don't matter. Even if your opponent has more life points than you do win the best of 3, is in the rules. So the player who wins game 1 here is the winner of the match, because time has been called. And I mean, honestly, it's looking like Bronas is winning this game anyway, so it doesn't look like the time rules are making a huge difference here. It was a good attempt. It was an exciting match. I did really enjoy it, but ultimately it did also kind of showcase how good the branded matchup is into Sky Striker and how precisely you have to navigate the matchup to even have a chance to be in it. It's a really, really tough matchup to pilot from the Sky Striker side. So branded ultimately ends up taking it here for Bronas, and Bronas moves in to the top 16. Okay, well, I think that is going to be it for our top 32. I was originally planning to checking out multiple matches in this first round of the tournament to see what kind of decks people have brought, but well, I picked one that just ended up taking very long. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game so far, and I hope you're going to stick with me for the rest of the tournament. We will be back with the top 16 very, very shortly. It's just going to be a very short break since we are already in overtime, so it's not going to take a long time to set up the next round. I'll be back with you in just a few minutes for our top 16 of the Challenger Cup Finals. See you in a bit. Okay, and there we are again with our top 16 players of the Challenger Cup season finals. Play has just begun for the top 16, so let's jump in. Let's just go into table 1 and see what kind of decks players are working with over here. I do have a deck breakdown, by the way. I do have some numbers of what decks players have chosen. I don't know exactly which player has which deck, but I do know an overall representation. At least at the start of the tournament, it was about 34% Cool Tune, 21% Radiant Typhoon, 12% Branded, 9% Draco Tail, 6% Sky Striker, 6% Vanquish Soul K9, 3% Fiendsmith Yummy, which I think is one player, 3% Unchained, and 3% Zodiac Radiant Typhoon. As we see Rixia go first here, but unfortunately just set 2 and pass. One of those 2 cards is a copy of Called by the Grave to hit this Draco Tail 5 mana. Okay, well, Ketu into Draco Tail 5 mana was the start to the turn here, and we do get hit with a Called by here, so that's strong. And it is, in fact, Radiant Typhoon. Well, that's a classic Radiant Typhoon opener if I've ever seen one. And we do summon out the Phonics here after that Called by the Grave has resolved. We do have a Fallen the White Dragon in hand as well, though, for Draco Tail. That's a good one. Sending the Dogma. Summoning out Fallen the White Dragon. We ash it. Okay. Fair enough. This still leaves us with a normal summon, but with Lucias being limited, there are not that many good normal summons. Mululu is at 3 still. We don't have one right now. Okay. So we were actually able to stop this Draco Tail turn here. Phimena and Fallen of the White Dragon were the 2 starters. The problem is, because we had that Fallen of the White Dragon and it created some card advantage for cost, we are still in rotation for our engine here. We're going to send a Albion for the Fallen and the Virtuous in the end phase. That gets rid of the Radiant Typhoon Phonics. And now we trigger Vararoon. Okay, we had both of those in hand. Those are the 2 Radiant Typhoon names that you technically don't want to open. I mean, you don't mind opening them if your hand already plays, but these 2 themselves will not do it for you. Now, do we have a Mystical Space Typhoon here to destroy that Fallen and the Virtuous? That is technically the best card to have here, because that's also going to bring back the Phonics from the graveyard and put a Mystical Space Typhoon in graveyard for the Vararoon here to have the negate online. So if we draw a Radiant Typhoon monster here, we can just cook. We just go into the battle phase. Okay. Now these 2, you can make a rank 9 with them, or you can make the Link 2. Or you could just leave it because this is also a negate. Pass turn. Okay. Now the scariest card here is probably a second copy of Ketu Draco Tail. Another copy of Fallen of the White Dragon. Okay, that's manageable. Still not bad to have though. Honestly, it's really not bad to have. Really unfortunate hand for Radiant Typhoon here. Sending Albulanatis for the Fallen of the White Dragon this time. Summoning it in defense mode, activating to try and get Ecclesia. We probably stopped that with the Vararoon if I had to guess. Yep. And now you just close your eyes and you pray they don't have a great way to start. Like a Lucias or Mululu off the top, or another Ketu or Rahu. So many cards they could have. Set 1. Okay. Albulanatis is going to guarantee a branded fusion for the next turn though. So we do need to make something happen now. We do need to make something happen now. Otherwise, this branded fusion alone is gonna pick apart this board entirely. Did we find something? I mean, we can always try to make the rank 9 the Enter Blathnir and just try to snipe the branded fusion out of the hand, I suppose. If worst comes to worst, we can try that. Ooh, well, we go for the Vararoon here. I guess it's tempting because there is a spell trap on the field now that we can hit with that Mystical Space Typhoon, and then we can bring both of these just back. But the question is, would you really set one that's vulnerable to Mystical Space Typhoon? Oh, we ash it actually. Okay. And now what? We didn't get the Mystical Space Typhoon. And now we're stuck with the 0 attack. Yep. Finds no engine cards in the first 3 turns. Really unfortunate game 1 here for Rixia, but that is one of the problems with Radiant Typhoon sometimes. And Draco Tail really making use here of the inevitability of Fallen of the White Dragon. Sending cards for cost means that we get guaranteed plays for future turns. And that's really helping them out in that game. So we're gonna go into a game 2 now, and Radiant Typhoon is probably going first again. Hopefully with a better hand this time. Yep, it is Rixia going first in game number 2 again. And there's a Swen. All right, we have engine. We have engine this time around. Swen resolves, gets us Radiant Typhoon Vision even. Okay. Which indicates to me that we already have an Eldam. Yep. So we even have multiple engine pieces, so we will play through Interruption a lot better. Oh, we add Varurun, which indicates to me that we also have Crocea in hand. Okay, wonderful hand for Rixia here. A Molcharmy Fualos is activated on this open board state. So, and it resolves. Typically not the biggest problem for Radiant Typhoon, I would say. Because you're usually, I mean, of course, if you are not under a Molcharmy, you can do a decent amount of things, but you are completely fine just going for your Link monster, and that's going to be 1 draw, and that's fine. Is Rixia on Zodiac or Pure? Well, I don't know. If there is Zodiac cards in the deck, then this is a much more important Molcharmy than if there aren't. But we haven't seen any Zodiac cards so far. But they could be there. We don't know. And here's the Crocea. Most importantly, the Crocea is resolving. So no interruption there from the side of Draco Tail, and we get Radiant Typhoon Chant, which is going to add a Megala, and we are also going to Mystical Space Typhoon it. Okay. That's going to give us the Varurun from the graveyard. Here's Megala. Now, it's interesting to me that we're doing all of this before making the Link 2, because we're not getting the trap in rotation yet. Maybe we don't want to give them the draw for the Link 2. Maybe we want to starve them on cards, just get no draws for the Molcharmy. Maybe if we drew the trap, that'd be reasonable. Could be. No, we do make it. Do make it. Now this means we will have to activate another quick play spell to trigger that Varurun. Yeah, and we do kind of waste the Mystical Space Typhoon here. Giving 1 draw for Mandate is worth it. No, it absolutely is. It's just that we could have made this Link 2 before activating the first hand. And then we didn't need to use Mystical Space Typhoon to trigger it. We would have had 1 extra Mystical Space Typhoon, essentially. Still a very, very impressive opener here from Radiant Typhoon. We have the Varurun. We have some Mystical Space Typhoons. We have the trap set up so we can mess with some Draco Tail spells if they are being activated. Here's Branded Fusion. That is definitely one that you will want to stop, probably. No, we let it resolve. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. Interesting. It's Frixel and Fallen of the White Dragon. Now, we only have 2 triggers here, the Albion and the Frixel. And Vararoon can stop one of them, but we can pick which one they can stop because we decide which one we put on Chainlink 1. And we do decide to put the Frixel on Chainlink 2 this way. The Albion cannot be negated by the Vararoon, but it can be negated by the Infinite Impermanent. But we didn't negate the Frixel in the graveyard. Now here's the thing, whether you use the Mystical Space Typhoon now or later doesn't really make a difference unless they have another copy of that card in their hand. But it is technically safer to use it here, because then they can't dodge it or anything like that. But on the other hand, we haven't really invested that much yet from the Draco Tail side, right? We've only activated 1 Branded Fusion. And we have already managed to grind through 2 of the back rows with that. So, you know, not the worst start to the game for Draco Tail. And there is another copy of Ketu. That is massive. Can we stop that? Because if that resolves, I genuinely think Draco Tail is favored here. And this is where it could really matter that we kind of wasted 1 Mystical Space Typhoon earlier. If we don't have another one, this is a big problem. It resolves. Uh-oh. Are we thinking on what to search? Yeah, we are resolving already. Okay, we go for Urgula. Urgula is very scary here, and it's Urgula plus Mululu. And they're making an Arthalion. I think it was better because of potential droplet and fallen. Yeah, like I said, it was very risky to let them activate that Ketu Draco Tail unless you have like an Ash or a Purge. But it was very risky, so I get it. But they did have the second Ketu, and it is looking pretty grim now, I would say. I mean, they're still not out of things to do. They still have Vararoon, they still have Phonics. The Vararoon is kind of forced to be used here, though. And then Urgula is still going to resolve. Can we watch Bronas versus Nightfall if there's time? I mean, I'm assuming they're both unbranded, so I think they will probably be playing until the very end, yeah. If this match doesn't go to time, we can definitely take a look at that one if you want. Okay, Vararoon negates the Molulu, which in return is going to mean that Molulu is not going to negate anything on the field, which means the Onyx is still going to stay live, which means that after they set these cards, we can maybe activate a quick play spell to then shuffle back those cards. But at the same time, it does kind of depend on what we hit with this Urgula. Maybe we hit a card that they can... Because this is Chant. This is definitely activatable. This one, we don't know. We popped the Unknown. It was a Mystical Space Typhoon. Okay. Now, here's the thing. We could now activate Radiant Typhoon Chant and then Phonics triggers to put back this Rahu into the deck. That's what we're trying to do. If there's the Fallen into Virtuous, you can use it now, though, to destroy the Phonic. And then it's trouble. Yep, there's trouble. So, see, they tried to play around that, but they had both of those things. So ultimately, it was like, okay, well, can't really play around both. It was a good hand. It was what? Branded Fusion, Ketu, Molulu, Fallen into Virtuous. Pretty strong. And Fuwa before that, which resolved. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. And this is a problem. The new Solemn. I mean, the new Solemn is a hard card for Radiant Typhoon to play around. But also, Radiant Typhoon isn't gone in the TCG is the thing. I'm a little bit surprised by that too, but there was actually a couple of Radiant Typhoons who did well at Nationals, at different Nationals even. It was not just one. There were multiple Radiant Typhoons doing well at different Nationals, and I thought it was surprising, but it was also cool to see. So it is genuinely still playable. It's less consistent, and you need to play replacements for the chance in TCG, but it works. Just don't get drolled, I guess. But droll is not that popular right now. No side deck in Master Duel. I mean, yeah, of course. The Solemn Accusation card is going to be far less impactful in Master Duel than it is in the TCG because it is primarily being side decked. Oh, we actually do see a Ghost Spell here on the Fallen of the White Dragon. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I feel like you're winning. Yes. So what you're saying is simply draw Molcharmi, Ketu, Molulu, Fallen into Virtuous, Branded Fusion, Fallen of the White Dragon, and Called by the Grave? It's that simple, huh? It's that simple? Double Fallen of the White Dragon, alright. And all that without a normal summon, so now we normal summon the Frixel. Regula comes back in attack mode. Now we resolve Rahu. Now we are locked into level 8. We cannot make Gulamel. But that is just game, I think. destroy that. And I mean, we can still even banish with the Mirror Jade, so we can even move out of the way the Megala. And this is way more than enough damage. And I do think Draco Tail here is going to win 2-0 against Radiant Typhoon. Although, I mean, game 1, Radiant Typhoon didn't really see a playable card. And then game 2, they had a solid opener, but the Draco Tail opener was just crazy strong. Okay. All right, and that is a Draco Tail in top 8 already. Okay. Cruising. All right, people in chat did request the Nightfall versus Bronas matchup. Let me just get the score real quick. Bronas has a win, and Nightfall has a win. They are in game 3 already. Okay. Game 3 going on between these two. Nightfall going first. Branded in high spirits with Fry Brigade Springen's kit. Alright, it is branded as expected from Nightfall. We do play the Golden Sword Soul for some stronger turn 1 synchro combo lines. Ecclesia and the Dark Dragon summons Quem. That triggers the Golden Sword Soul. And Quem also activates. Quem sends Cartesia, and Golden Sword Soul brings that Cartesia back. Then we activate Branded Opening, discarding another Branded Opening. So no further synchro summons this turn, but we can fuse with the Cartesia. Time left. They got 20 minutes. Not the worst. I mean, it's a branded mirror match, so they could easily take those 20 minutes and it could still not be enough, but it's... Oh, okay. Someone is ready for those 20 minutes. This is game 3. This is game 3. Okay, we do have the Masquerade on the field with, like I said, 19 minutes left at this point. So it's a very early Masquerade summon. Let's see if it pays off. In the end phase, Titanic Clad activates. Summons the Dogmatica Ecclesia. Add Fallen at the Virtuous. Activate Fallen at the Virtuous. Send Albion. Destroy Ecclesia. They got the game 3 in a Branded Mirror. Yeah, it's crazy. Someone must have scooped early or not drawn a play for them to finish 2 games already in 25 minutes. And there's a Mercuria in the deck as well, added to the hand. Which is not live yet, but is probably going to be live at some point in the opponent's turn. Alright, let's see what Bronas can do to this board. There are Draco Tail cards in the deck, but the Branded Retribution does a pretty good job at covering those. The Rahus and the Ketus of the world, we can just negate. Here's Albion, the Shrouded Dragon, and you gotta pay your 600 for that. Branded Sword goes to grave, so we pay 600 for this draw. Pay 600 for this Fallen of the White Dragon. Sending the Ecclesia synchro, so we can get the removal eventually. Could use Retribution on this, but it is a scary thing to do because then you allow stuff like Ketu Draco Tail to resolve probably. Hey, another 600 please for that Fallen of the White Dragon effect. How do we fit Masquerade? I mean, there are some cards that are not mandatory. They're just really good. Like the second copy of the Cartesia Fusion, the Granguinol. But it's possible, and especially, I guess, in a tournament environment where the timer can be an issue, especially for Brandon. Right? I kind of get it, I suppose, wanting to make that concession. Oh, we go to the battle phase. Hold up. Is there a Super Poly involved? First off, we just get rid of the Quem. There is a Super Poly, but we pay 600 for that one last time. Discard Frixel. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna say it. If Bronas had the Proskinian in the extra deck, that would have been a pretty sick target for that. Proskinian doesn't work here. No Despias. Quem was a Despia. We could have done it at the start of the turn. Before we even summoned the Albaz, we could have gone Quem plus a Dark plus a Light to make it. Like, we could have used... It could have been Quem plus Masquerade plus the Ecclesia Synchro. It would have been a pretty good Proskinian. But of course, we do have to make concessions because Bronas is playing Dracotail cards. So I wouldn't expect it to be there. There's also, we saw Secretarion Dragon and stuff, so there's no room for that Proskinian in that version of the deck, I would assume. But sometimes it comes in really handy in the mirror match because, like, it's like the one thing where if they have Quem, you can just super poly the Quem really easily. Plus 2 of their cards without actually having to use any of yours sometimes. Watching only Branded to avoid showing the rat propaganda. Dude, we actually watched Radiant Typhoon before this, but they just lost too quickly. They lost while you were gone. It is just like we jumped into a Radiant Typhoon game while you were gone, and I don't know, dude. They just To be fair, I don't know if they played Radiant Typhoon or Radiant Typhoon Zodiac. They were in chat earlier though. Maybe they can enlighten us on what version it was. We didn't see Rat, that's why they lost. I mean, hey, there was game 1 they passed without a play, so yeah, the Rat would have helped there. Game 2 they were under Fuba though, so in game 2 it would not have helped. I think Bronas is on a very, very small Dracotail package because he's shown a very large branded package with like branded in High Spirits, branded Sword, branded Retribution, Quem, even the Golden Sword Soul as a target for Ecclesia is in the deck. So there's a lot of branded in this deck. It's a very small, I would even assume just 1/5 mana. And maybe even, I don't even know if it's multiple Dracotail traps. It might just be one. Maybe Flame and Sting, I don't know, but it's a very, very large branded package. Alright, well, we are in main phase 2 now, and timer is ticking. We started this game at 20 minutes, now we're down to 12. And the Masquerade has demanded some taxes from Bronas, so we are down in life points and we didn't manage to do any damage. Why would he only be on 1/5 mana? Well, that's the thing. If you play a super small Dracotail package, it's actually very unlikely for 5 mana to be a good draw. Because if you draw 5 mana with no other Draco Tails, it doesn't actually provide that much value to you. Even though you can use it as a fusion spell for like Albaz fusions, but that's not the greatest use of the card. You really want to draw it together with other Draco Tails. So if you play a very, very small Draco Tail package, it could genuinely just be 1 5 mana, because then you can send it for like Rahu from the deck to the graveyard and then add it back to the hand with Arthalion or Urgula. And that way you can if you can set it up, it can be a good interruption, but you don't want to draw it as often. There's a lot of stuff going on here from Nightfall's side here in main phase 2, and I don't really know. I don't know if Bronas has enough to like do about any of this, because the end phase is gonna go crazy. We have High Spirits, we have Artesia, we have Ecclesia. We are still resolving Lubellion, so we can make a Mirror Jade ourselves, or we can make the Dragon that Devours the Dogma, but it is going to be a Mirror Jade. And even if we decide to go Mirror Jade, banish Mirror Jade, we do have Branded Opening in the graveyard as well to protect these fusion monsters. Okay, Quem into sending Stride Brigade Springgan's Kit brings back Cartesia, so we're still on the board here for Bronas. But what is our winning line here? Okay, steal those 2 cards for Albalanatis. That's cool. That triggers Quem as well. The Overframe wins against the regular one. Yeah, technically. Okay, Ketu Draco Tail can still resolve. I mean, is it that bad of a spot? Maybe it's not. It kind of like, things have kind of shifted a little bit. Now, the thing is, no, we can't really make anything that Nightfall cannot deal with right now, because the Mirror Jade Banish is still live. So we can't really make stuff like Secretarion Dragon and expect it to survive, which is difficult to deal with. But we can use Frixel. If Draco Tail Sting is in the deck, it'd be huge. No, we just said another spell. I honestly don't think... I don't even know if Bronas plays the traps. It might just be Draco Tails as good fusion material and getting some more pushes going second. It might just not use traps. Because I really don't see the value in setting Rahu here otherwise. Like, you would much rather have Draco Tail Sting if you played it, or even Flame, I think. Here's the Dragon that Devours the Dogma, and that is unaffected, and that can mess with the graveyard a little bit. And that's why we bring back the Masquerade here before it gets shuffled back. Time? Less than 8 minutes. So I actually think it sounds crazy, but the Masquerade ultimately is what makes the difference here in terms of who I think is favored. Because I feel like it's unlikely that Bronas even has another battle phase this game. So the 2400 we paid for Masquerade, it might just make the difference here. We do make the end phase a little bit faster by shuffling in the Ecclesia and the Cartesia. We do mess with Nightfall's follow-up here a little bit. And we activate 5 mana here. Now, Bronas did use Fallen of the White Dragon from hand, so is locked into level 8. Here's Mirror Jade, banishing maybe the Cartesia? Pain Branded Sword. Adding back Albaz here, though. Uh-oh. Albaz is going to make us able to fuse whatever we want, basically. What is the Mirror Jade going to banish? I thought they were trying to banish the Cartesia, probably. No, we banished the Albion. We don't want that to hit the graveyard. Okay. Well, we can always just make a Gran to send another copy of Albion. Secretarion is the choice. The timer has just hit 6 minutes. Rahu is set. That does nothing. We are not locked into fusions after all that. Okay, I just assumed somewhere down the line we were locked into fusions, but no. Okay, hold up. But no cards in hand to like use the Albaz to fuse, unfortunately. Pergula for 5 mana. Isn't he doing too much here? Now we have a card in hand. I feel like this is good to do. I just don't know if it's going to work out because now there's 5 minutes left. I mean, all that Bronas needs is one more battle phase. Wait, we summoned the Golden Sword Soul? I thought we were going to Albaz fuse. Never mind. Four and a half minutes. 4.5 minutes for Bronas to get another turn and do some damage here. I don't see it happening. I think the Masquerade is the big star of this game. I think the Masquerade is going to make the difference here. And to be clear, I don't even know if Bronas was definitely winning without that Masquerade. There still is an argument to be made that like Nightfall is doing really well here in this position. There's still 5 cards in hand and a board established already at the beginning of the turn. So maybe Nightfall was fine either way. But we do, at least we play quickly here from the side of Nightfall. I respect it. We attack over the Secretarion Dragon. Now our dragon and spellcaster effects are unlocked again. Probably won't be able to out the dragon that devours the dogma this turn, but we can attack over some other things. Although the math lines up a little weird here. Because we got 25, 25. This is 25 defense. This is 25 defense. We got 3,000 here, but that has to choose. Like, there's only one thing we can out with that. Attacking over the Ecclesia Synchro. Okay. Activate Fallen at the Virtuous in the battle phase. Timer's down to 3 minutes. Sending our own copy of the Ecclesia Synchro. Destroying our own Aluber. Main phase 2. This is how we're going to try and out the Mirror Jade, I assume? Yeah. We do know the set is just a Rahu. My mana is chained. 2.5 minutes. Max C off the top. Okay. Okay then. Sending Rintbrum. The problem is that Rintbrum is a lot of special summons. That Maxi is actually really, really good here. Because this is a draw for this. This summons Ecclesia. Golden Sword Soul triggers. This Maxi just draws 5 cards out of nowhere. One and a half minutes left. Yeah, you kind of have to do it, but I mean, at this point, yes, we found Ash Blossom with the 4 draws or whatever. The Ecclesia, High Spirits. Oh, High Spirits is just gonna search for. Oh no, Mercurier is banished, unless we play 2. And the timer is sub 1 minute. There's no way we're getting another battle phase. There's no way we're getting another battle phase. I'm telling you right now, it's not happening. Oh yeah, Grand is the thing we want. I see. I don't see a way out. We still make a big dragon that devours the dogma, the second one. But 13 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is time on the round. And Nightfall, with some help from Masquerade the Blazing Dragon, because that's the only damage slash cost, life points cost, that's been happening this game so far. Neither player has managed to do damage by attacking, but the Masquerade that we made with 20 minutes left on the clock, that Masquerade has made the difference in this game. Because we paid 2,400 for it. And we didn't do any damage back, so. It looked very early for the Masquerade, but then again, you really can't underestimate the amount of time that Branded can take sometimes to play, especially in the mirror, where like the cards, that's the thing, right? In the Branded mirror, the cards are typically resolving, right? They don't really negate each other to a crazy amount. So yeah, I think unless they have extra time that I don't know of, unless they have extra time that I'm unaware of, I think this is it. They are still playing, so I wonder if they're either not aware or maybe... Here's the thing, right? Bronas had this very long game in top 32. So maybe they started late? I don't know. Or maybe they're just trying to see who would have won. I don't know. But I also do see that in the Discord server, they already announced that top 8 is going to start in a few minutes. So we actually won't have a break at all. Okay. Nightfall just leaves. Okay. Well. Well. And we are already down to our top 8. Let me actually update the round info. Oh, there we go. And reset the scores. Yeah, the Masquerade did win that game, I think. I mean, I don't know if maybe Bronas had a way to do damage on the previous turn, because I feel like it was relatively early to, like, it was... You can tell relatively early that that game was probably not going to get another battle phase for Bronas, so maybe we needed to try and do more before moving to the battle phase in that game. Just, I mean, I know that, like, attacking the Quem and stuff is probably helpful, but At that point, we sacrificed the ability to do damage. So maybe maybe we just needed to accept that the Quem was going to revive something and just try to play into it. Needed 2,500 damage is a lot. I mean, needed more than that too, because the battle phase, we outed the Masquerade in the battle phase, right? So like, if we keep playing in main phase 1 and we don't out the Masquerade immediately, then the Masquerade stays and we pay a lot more. So we would have had to actually use the Super Poly in main phase immediately to get rid of the Masquerade. We would have had to do something like reveal Fallen of Albaz, like Fallen of the White Dragon, special Fallen of the White Dragon, activate, and then immediately Super Poly, let's say the Albaz plus the Masquerade plus the Quem into like a dragon that devours the dogma, and then try to go from there, right? I feel like that's what we had to do, but it was hard. Yeah, it's very hard. Okay, anyways, looks like our top 8 duelists are assembling. Let me see. I did end up getting a list for what players have what deck. Let me see what we've got. Without spoiling anything, I'm just gonna... Okay, that's that. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm waiting for table 1 to start because both of these players we haven't seen yet. On table 2, on table 3, we do have some players that we've watched previously today, and I do want to give some spotlights to the players we haven't seen yet. So let's jump into table 1, which is Mecha versus Eerie. And I can already tell you one of the decks we've seen before and one of the decks we haven't seen today, actually. So, yeah. And this is the deck we've seen today already. It is another branded duelist here in Bet Mecha. The deck on the other side of the table we haven't seen yet, though. I can tell you that much. And we start things off with Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion onto the Fallen of the White Dragon. Here's Branded Fusion. And we fuse on the White Dragon with Cartesia for an Albion the Branded Dragon. Any decks other than Branded? Branded was the 3rd most played deck only, actually, in this tournament at 12.5%, which means there were 4 branded players in this tournament. It's just that they are doing quite well. I wonder which deck plays Bell and Veiler. Wonder what we're working with here. But believe it or not, we haven't seen it today yet. It's the first time. It's Blue Eyes? Yeah, maybe. Would be Blue Eyes. Alright, Albilenatus pass. We are gonna get our Albion effect in the end phase, and we can still search with the Dragon that Devours the Dogma. We play Mercurier, so the Dragon that Devours the Dogma is actually a very valuable search here in this case. So we have Fallen at the Virtuous, we have the Mercurier in hand, and Fallen at the Virtuous can turn into a disruption by sending Rindbrum and then Albaz and so on. Okay, 4 cards in hand here. Let's see if we can break through this relatively moderate board, but still a lot of interaction. And here we go. Rotary reveal Rico. All right, it's a good start for Cooltune. Thinking about using Mercurier on the extra normal summon. I mean, yeah, Cooltune is limited in terms of how many times it can put monsters onto the field. So using Mercurier on this could be a genuine option. I mean, what other extenders do they have? They have the field spell. They have Synchro Overtake. Duelist Genesis to get to Synchro Overtake. And the Quick Play spell as well to get to the field spell. But they are limited in those options. But we decide to not gamble on them having extenders or not. We decide to let them normal summon. What other negate is more valuable in this? Yeah, I think it's a good point to try and negate the rotary. The thing is, like, if the plan is to negate the extra normal summon and then when they normal summon you just destroy it with Fallen at the Virtuous, you can get into some trouble if they have the Cooltune Quick Play spell to dodge your Fallen at the Virtuous, and all of a sudden, you know, it starts getting a really weird game. And then, like, you could hold the Mercurier for something like another copy of Ghost Bell, right? Like when you try to bring back with Rindbrum and they bell it, potentially it's a really good way to stop that. Or when they try to, like, Ash your Ecclesia from tagging out into a Fallen of Albaz, or Ghost Ogre on the Fallen of Albaz, right? That way you just make it more likely that your Fallen of Albaz resolves. And I think that's probably GG either way. If the Fallen of Albaz resolves to fuse against Cooltune, it's always really good. But there's an argument to be made for both. It's just, I can see trying to play it more safe and not just go down if they draw, like, the field spell. All right, normal summon Cooltune Rico after Pot of Desires. And we use the Mercurier on this one. All right. I guess this way we're saying if you don't have Rotary in hand, but that's the weird thing, right? Now you don't know if they have Rotary or Veiler or not. So is this Rico a threat on the board or is it not? And they drew another Rotary. Oh. This is not good. This would have been a really, really efficient way to do it after the next Forbidden and Limited List update. This droplet is still strong. Sending a Molchar. Ah, we could have sent the Albalanatus and then the Fuwa would have been live afterwards. I think I would have preferred that. Because the Albalanatus is just probably going to the extra deck anyways. Because there is a Track Maker, right? Like, the Track Maker is just going to be your fusion, your synchro material, and the Albalanatus is gone. So we could have easily just sent the Albalanatus for Droplet, which would have even been beneficial because we would have gotten its end phase effect for some follow-up. But okay, now we go for the Rindbrum onto the Fallen of Albaz, and now this is really vulnerable to Ash Blossom or Ghost Ogre. Because the... or Mourner, and now you wish you still had that Mercurier. And all of a sudden, this game is actually, I think, looking pretty decent for Cooltune. Now, do they have Q in hand? Oh my god, okay. No, I genuinely think this is a win for Branded, though, if they just hold Mercurier for the Ghost Mourner. I think it was played completely reasonable. I think letting the rotary resolve is fine, but I think negating the Rico was a little weird. Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna hold the Mercurier, you need to hold it for something, because essentially what you're saying with there's two things you can do. You can use the Mercurier early and hope they don't have the tools to play into your board, or you can hold the Mercurier for later, saying like, I don't want to take the risk of you having the right extender. I just want to hold it for a guaranteed, like, to guarantee my Albaz play, right? I think those two options are fine. What we did here was like kind of like the middle. We didn't do either. We didn't stop it in the beginning. We stopped it somewhere in the middle, and we still lost to the Mourner on the Fallen of the White Dragon. Because genuinely, if the Fallen of Albaz resolves against Cool Tune, it's typically a win, because you get the removal, you get the bodies off the field, and you typically get a Mirror Jade for it, which is usually good enough. Do you play as well as you just watch? Today I'm just casting. Josh is not in today, no. Now, here's the thing. Cool Tune still is somewhat limited in their options here. Ooh, the 1800 damage. Zalen. Just game. Yeah, the Mourner damage actually makes this game. It wouldn't be 8,000 without the 1800 from the Mourner. Okay. And that's a win for Airy here, going second with Cool Tune into a pretty strong branded position, I would say. And I think it's an interesting game to go back and look at eventually if you're trying to optimize how to interrupt Cool Tune with branded. That was a very, very interesting game, because like the thing is, like the decisions that were made there was nothing that was like obviously wrong. Those are definitely things you could consider doing. But I think there was, if you look at all the possibilities on how your opponent can play through your stuff, I think you could probably reach the conclusion that we should have done it in a different manner, but... All right, and it's going to be branded going first one more time here in the top 8, game number 2. We do open with Fallen of the White Dragon. All right, no Maxi. But we once again do not let the Fallen of the White Dragon resolve. In game 1, it was, I think, a Bell. In game 2, it's an Imperm. Okay, you know, good news, bad news. Good news, bad news. The good news, Or the bad news, rather, for the Cool Tune player is our opponent has another play. But the good news is it's Dogmatica Ecclesia, which is typically not, typically not the craziest thing to do. It's fine. We do use the Effect Veiler on it, though. Is Nadir played in Master Duel? Yeah, people do play Nadir Servant. Very often, at least. Not everyone does, but a lot of people do. I personally do play it, and I think most people do, but I've seen some people not play it. Really bad going second. It's not ideal going second, but it's still not the end of the world. It really depends on the situation. It's not generally bad going second. Sometimes it works out. All right, set one. There is more in hand here. Is that clip? I didn't use it. In the end phase, the dragon that devours the dogma resolves. Gets us the Fallen and the Virtuous in hand. It's probably not going to stay in hand, though. We're probably going to use it to destroy one of our own cards. So probably sending Rindbrum or Albion the Branded Dragon here to destroy one of our own cards. Probably destroy this one then. No, we want the Ecclesia off the board. Okay, that could be an indicator that this could be a super polymerization. We want to keep the Fallen of the White Dragon around, but you never know. It could also just be a Branded Retribution. Definitely not another copy of Fallen of the Virtuous, but because we would have, not gotten another one. And we start with Rotary again. This time together with Mix. Yeah, the reason I said it could be super poly is because we did think for a moment when there was the Effect Veiler activated on the Dogmatica Ecclesia. And I do think if it was Fallen and the Virtuous, we would have done it immediately. That was not even much of a thought, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I think it could just be super poly. Especially now that, like, we made the decision to keep the Albaz on the board over the Ecclesia, right? Like, the Albaz in the graveyard here would have been so much better in a sense because we probably want to send Rindbrum for Fallen and the Virtuous, so you want the Albaz in the graveyard. So it's you got to ask yourself the question, like, why did they not want the Albaz in the graveyard? It's like, okay, well, probably Albaz and Rico cannot make any, not that I'm aware of. At least not the ones that are commonly played. Maybe there is one out there, but nothing they play. Okay, here's Trackmaker. And this is going to force the set card, which I do think is likely a super polymerization. Because now Rico has been used as fusion material, so it's going to target this set card. We're putting Trackmaker on Chainlink 3, which is risky, because if they have Ash and Super Poly, then you can essentially negate the whole chain here. Because you can discard Ash onto Trackmaker, chain Super Poly, which it is, of course. And then we would have had no cards in hand. And then the Rotary also wouldn't have searched. Purulia in the main deck for Branded. Okay, interesting. Here's Mirror Jade. It doesn't search even if it's activated. I thought it did. Well, Rotary, the way Rotary is worded is it says, look at your opponent's hand, then you can add a Cool Tune spell trap. If your opponent doesn't have a hand to look at, then you don't get to search. You need to be able to look at the hand in order to get a search. So if there's no cards to be revealed, no cards to look at, you don't get a search. No overframe looks weird now. Yeah, every time someone... I mean, it's still a cool card, but it seems so small. It's just the regular Mirror Jade just seems so small now because I'm so used to seeing the big version of it now. I mean, here's the thing. We know there's a Mercurier in hand, which does mean that Mecha has to choose between two things. And we can't get both. We either hold the Mercurier as a discard for Fallen of Albaz, and we go Rindbrum into Albaz, into Ecclesia, into Tag Out into Albaz, and then try to fuse. Or we discard the Mercurier for its own effect. We can't do both because we don't have enough cards in hand. Now here's the thing, after this Mirror Jade banishes the Q, I do not think that Cool Tune, unless we drew specifically Synchro Overtake, I don't think we have a way to get a monster onto the board, and that is going to be enough here to get the win for Branded. Okay. Barely, honestly, barely. That was close. The Super Poly was very, very clutch here. But we barely got it. Honestly, I would have loved to see that read on the super polymerization, because it was a readable super polymerization, right? We talked about it. The key there could have been to just go into the battle phase and attack the Fallen of Albaz with Rico. Because the Albaz was in defense mode, it was 0 defense, we could have attacked it, and in that spot, the super poly was not activatable. So we could have maybe made a difference in that regard if we attacked it first. Now the thing is, like, there was still a Rindbrum in the graveyard that could have brought back the Fallen of Albaz later. Yeah, so maybe it wouldn't have made a difference, but still. Alright, now we see Cool Tune going first for the first time in this tournament. And in this match. Rico adds Rotary. And I mean, yeah, Branded is not really known for any... usually playing a lot of like hand traps, so we're probably just gonna see the Cool Tune combo here and just see if the Branded hand can beat it. Let's see it. So far we haven't seen any Molcharmies either, so here's an Ash Blossom tutored by the Q. Everyone's favorite play in Cool Tune is the fact that it can search Ash Blossom. Everyone is happy about this. Okay, I like 4 of these 5. Of course, the fact that we drew a duplicate is really, really bad against Cool Tune. Because that makes it just easier for the opponent to maneuver around your hand. Oh, okay. And our top of the deck is Pualos and Purulia. Well, that could not be worse, because Purulia... This is one of, in my opinion, one of the main differences between the two Molcharmies against Cool Tune, because on paper, both are decent. On paper, both Purulia and Fuwa are decent against Cooltune. My problem with Purulia is it's a horrible top deck. And Fualos often is a good top deck in this matchup. So when they see a Fualos on top of your deck, they don't like it. But if they see a Purulia on top of your deck, they love it. So yeah. I mean, there is a game left to be played here, but I don't think that this hand is good enough from Branded to beat the full Cooltune combo plus Ash Blossom. But we'll see how it plays out. Maybe they find a way. Also, the Albion, maybe the Albion draw changes some things if they get it. But I think it's really hard. Shrouded can still draw a play. I would not be surprised if we use Ash Blossom on Shrouded Dragon. It seems very weird to Ash a draw 1, but I think if you know you can deal with the rest of the hand, it's something you can consider. Because I don't know, like, do you really need to risk them drawing something like, I don't know, Super Poly or Talents or something like that? Or Droplet, I don't know, kind of things that make it weird for you. I mean, maybe you just let it happen and you can deal with whatever they draw is also an option, but... And Retribution. Looks like we had a small disconnect there, but we should be back. Please tell me I'm back. Yeah, we're back. Alright, sorry about that. It's just, I don't know what it is. The internet at my new place, it sometimes seems to have like, it's not even gone. The internet isn't even gone. The game and the chat kept running. Like, I have no idea why it sometimes does this, where it's just literally the stream just cuts out for 1 second. And then it's back. It happened multiple times over the course of the Worlds qualifier weekend as well. Like I didn't even get a disconnect during the games. I didn't get a disconnect during the game. It's just my stream was gone for a split second. I have no idea. Anyways, we let the Albion draw a card, and then we ashed Branded in High Spirits. And then they set a card, which was a bluff for Fallen of Albaz. It was the Purulia. I like to see that, actually. We're playing around with the fear of Alba Lanada's Contact Fusion. We set the Purulia, and it prompted our opponent to go Cooltune Synchro into RS. Which is a small, even though it's a small just mental victory that we forced our opponent to do that by setting Purulia. I don't know if it's going to end up winning us the game, but it was a small win, at least. Okay, now we go to the battle phase. Because the RS is, of course, main phase only, so we're trying to resolve our Branded opening, but there's more face downs and the Zaylin can still negate. So I don't know how much success we're going to have with that. Branded opening is going to resolve, but I don't think the Aluber will. Wait. Oh, did we go Albion the Shrouded Dragon? Draw Albion the Shrouded Dragon? That's so annoying. That is very annoying. Now Super Poly into Proskinian. First of all, it doesn't work because Proskinian needs light and dark, not two darks. You can't do that. But also, I'm pretty sure we know the hand. I'm pretty sure we know the hand is double Fallen into Virtuous. I'm pretty sure the hand is double Fallen into Virtuous. So we go end phase here, and of course we still have Titaniclad into Fallen of Albaz as an available line. I'm just wondering why we didn't set one copy of the Fallen of the Virtuous, because yes, we do need a discard, but we could have gotten the discard from Branded Retribution. And now we just don't have that Fallen into Virtuous. But also, if this face down is Cool Tune Synchro, then the Zaylin is just gonna stop the Albaz. So maybe we needed to use Fallen into Virtuous on the Zaylin to try and out it that way. Because it looks like they have a response, and if they do have a response, then the Zaylin just wins. Oh. It's resolving. Interesting, okay. Had Retribution engraved to chain block Zaylin. Fair enough. Maybe that's what we held it for. Yeah. Okay, well. Well. Somehow, with the bluff set of the Molcharmi Perulia, we managed to force out enough cards to resolve the Fallen of Albaz in the end phase, and here we are. And it's not over yet. We outed even the field spell, so that is going to make the push much weaker on the follow-up turn here. And we get the Fallen and the Virtuous from this Albion anyways, and we are kind of in the grind game here for Branded. The only issue is we don't have a lot of disruptions this turn, because we've already used the Mirror Jade last turn. We can't use it this turn. And we don't really have... I mean, we have the Albaz in graveyard, so we could go Fallen into Virtuous, send Rindbrum, and that can revive the Albaz, and then we can get a discard with Branded Retribution. So we have that one... We have the pop from Fallen into Virtuous, and we potentially have a fusion with the Albaz. But the fusion with the Albaz cannot make Mirror Jade because we have that on the field already. So we have to make something else. Yeah, Overtake is very, very good here, because that's going to give us cards on the field without normal summoning. That basically replaces the extra normal summon of the field spell, which is really, really good here. And this is going to force... I think this is going to force the Fallen into Virtues. I mean, they might not have Rico in hand, but like, if they have Rico here, you lose. If you don't use it now, but maybe you have to risk it. They don't have Rico, so here's Q. Problem is Q can just summon RS if they want to as well. Needs this card to fuse with Albaz? Yeah, they have Retribution engraved. They can add a card back. Oh, here's Zaylin. Oh, that's a risky spot to activate that. RS is banished. Oh yeah, RS is banished and Q cannot summon from banished. Good call. Wait. You had Cool Tune Synchro last turn? Why didn't we go chain Cool Tune Synchro to the Albaz? I guess because they could have chained Retribution to add something back, but then you still would have negated that with Zaylen. Okay. Okay, so Fallen and the Virtuous, we chain Cool Tune Synchro. And then we chain Rindbrum. But that's not gonna help. Yeah, Cool Tune just wins. Cool Tune just wins here. Branded is completely out of interruptions now. I mean, Cool Tune doesn't have another normal summon. Maybe they survived the turn? Chaos Origins content before Euros? Yes, you are. You are getting some content before Euros. There's going to be, in general, due to the reasons I talked about in the video I uploaded yesterday, there's going to be less streams in the next 2 weeks. Not 0 streams, but less streams. But I have some content planned for YouTube for Chaos Origins already. So you're going to get some for sure. Are you interested in the Ritual of Light and Darkness deck? I'm very interested in it. It's the deck that if I, like, without having tested it enough yet, but it's the deck that I'm hoping is good enough for me to play, basically. Like, I don't know if it is, but I really hope it is good enough so I can play it for Euros. It would be my favorite deck to play out of the new stuff. Now the question here is, can we go for game this turn? Because Zaylen is in the graveyard and not in the extra deck, so can we make a synchro with this track maker to get this Mirror Jade out of the way? We can make Loudness War if we add a level 2 here and then return the Mirror Jade and then attack twice with B2B and Rico. And that's game. Did the stream get cut? Yeah, we had a small disconnect about 11 minutes ago. But we're back. And that's it, I think. Oh, Aluber, hold up. How about you? No, it doesn't. Aluber doesn't change anything. Actually makes it worse. The Aluber actually makes it worse. In this particular instance, it does get worse because the Aluber. We just have more damage now than we had before. Hey, we do what we can. We do what we can. But it's not going to end up mattering. Adding Fallen and the Virtuous for next turn, but there is no next turn. Zaylen once, B2B once, and B2B twice. And Cool Tune takes down Branded in our top 8. Interesting games all around there, but Airy is the one who moves into the top 4. And I'm looking around here, it looks like that was the last of our matches in top 8. So well played, everybody. We're gonna be on a short break before the top 4 begins, already down to the semifinals in today's tournament. I hope everyone is having a good time so far. I hope everyone's enjoying the games, and I hope everyone is staying hydrated in this heat. But I will be right back with the top 4. I'm actually going to go grab a new water. So, yeah, we'll be back with the semifinals in just a moment. All right, and we're back, duelists, and we're already down to 4 players in the season final for this season of the Challenger Cups. And we have our 2 matchups left in the semifinals. Justinian versus Arctic 7 and Shady versus Airy here. I'm going to jump into table number 1, Justinian and Arctic 7, because we have seen neither of these players in the tournament so far. So let's take a look at what we're working with here. Well, we've got Justinian going first. Both players are on 40 cards. We see a Molcharmi Fuwalos activated in the draw phase, and it does resolve. And it is a cool tune Rico that we start things off with. Well, at least we have resolved that Molcharmi. There's a cool tune Synchro as well being activated. So pretty solid opener for Justinian here. We have Mix and Rotary now in hand. And we are going to activate that Rotary to summon Mix. And we get Q. Now, the thing with Q is if you summon from the deck with it, you are going to give a draw to the Molcharmi. But, I mean, we're going to check out the hand first and see how big of a problem that is. The issue here is we're not synchro summoning with the Q, which means we will not yet be able to gain any info on the top deck, which is somewhat of a big deal, right? Because, like, here's the thing, right? If you wanna manipulate the top deck now, you'd have to perform another synchro summon. But it's not really worth it because, I mean, giving a draw to potentially manipulate the next draw is not really, doesn't really make sense, right? So at this point, we are committed to basically playing against an unknown card either way. Looks like Arctic 7 had the option to respond to the Distract Maker, but chose not to in the end. It is going to resolve. It's going to add Cool Tune Synchro. Rotary is going to look at the hand. It is a Cool Tune mirror match here. This confirms, together with Airy in the other side of the bracket, that's 3 Cool Tunes in top 4. I don't know what the 4th deck is, but that is at least 3 Cool Tunes in top 4. Okay, and we did see that there was an Ash Blossom in hand, but we chose not to use it. Okay, so what was the hand? Double, it was multiple normal summons, Fallen at the Virtuous, and Ash Blossom? Not the greatest hand for playing into a board, but at least we're going to get an unknown card off the top that's going to be harder for Justinian to deal with, but still not the greatest opener. Alright, draws an unknown card for turn. So, Justinian not equipped with perfect information at the moment. Only with pretty good information, but not perfect information. And we start things off with a normal summon of Cool Tune Mix. And that's being hit with an Effect Veiler right away. Now, we do have a Fallen at the Virtuous in hand, which we could use to destroy our own card here if we want to make that search resolve. But then at the same time, we are kind of taking a threat off of the board for our opponent, so we're doing their work for them. I feel like if you do that, then all of a sudden it becomes really difficult to even establish anything on the board. But if you don't have access to Rotary otherwise, then you can't really extend after this. If you just let this resolve and then your opponent pops the mix, how do you keep going? They're thinking about it. They are considering the option, and they do reach the conclusion that they will have to do it here, I think. Yep. Fallen at the Virtuous is the response to the Effect Veiler. And that does resolve. Okay, so destroying their own mix just to get the search for that Rotary, probably. Yep, very important card to have. But now we are once again at an empty board. And so what I'm assuming is going to happen is we're going to activate Rotary to get a Rico onto the field, or even itself, but then probably Justinian just activates Cool Tune Synchro and then pops it with Mix. Yeah, here's the Rico. Adds Clip. And now we start synchroing. I mean, we have Ash for this, but there's 2. Yep, there it goes. And now it's really just a matter of, do we have another way to get anything onto the field? But realistically, if you just make RS here, I guess, if you just make RS, then you cover any possible extender, right? Or even that remix. Actually, the remix is also pretty good here. Remix just gets you a free Veiler as well. So yeah, there's a Rotary in hand. I think there's another Rico in hand. There's a Clip in hand. And there's one unknown. And that one unknown would need to provide another normal summon or extension somehow. Yeah, that's what it would need to be, like a Duelist Genesis. But even a Duelist Genesis, I think Justinian can cover for. Top 4 is at least 3 cool tunes, because 3 cool tunes are confirmed, and then one player's deck I don't know. So what's the other? The other matchup is Airy versus who again? Then I can check. But the thing is, like, the list that I have is using people's Discord names. So I don't know. Shady. Yeah, Shady. I don't know what Shady's on. Because they're using a different name on Master Duel than in my list of decks. So I don't know who's who. I guess we can take a quick look at what's going on there. Just to find out what the breakdown is. Where can I look for the Top Cuts deck breakdown? Well, I can tell you the breakdown of the top 32. Oh yeah, it's Radiant Typhoon. Okay, Radiant Typhoon versus Cool Tune. Noted. So top 4 is 3 Cool Tune, 1 Radiant Typhoon. The overall breakdown at the top 32 was the following. I can tell you that. It was 13 Cool Tunes. It was... Well, I only have percentage numbers. Hold up. It was 34% Cool Tune, 21% Radiant Typhoon, 12.5% Branded, 9.4% Draco Tail, 6.3% Striker, 6.3% Vanquish Soul K9, and then 3%, which is one player. It was 1 Fiendsmith Yami, 1 Unchained, and 1 Zodiac Radiant Typhoon. All right, Ash on the Rico. Is it good enough? Can you check previous replays? I want to see if there's a rat. Well, in my breakdown, it says there was 1 Zodiac Radiant Typhoon, and that was Rixia. And we saw Rixia be out earlier, so I think all the other Radiant Typhoons are on the no rat technology. Oh, we have talents, but can we afford to take a look? Yeah, we take a little look. Oh, that's a good hand, though. Probably take away Pot of Desires. Don't want to deal with those unknown cards. We're definitely not taking one of the normal summons, I don't think. It's one of the spells, one of the extenders, basically, potentially. I mean, the fact that this is already not a good sign for Justinian, because the fact that we can afford to take a look at hand with talents probably means the rest of the hand is really good. Like, we have an extender here, otherwise it doesn't really make sense to check the hand. Okay, Effect Veiler. You know, Effect Veiler is like the best possible extender for you as an opponent. Like, if that was Rotary or something like that, it would have been much worse. So the Veiler is like an acceptable card for them to have, I guess. So here's the JJ Cool Tune. Do we have to tribute the Track Maker? We have to tribute the Track Maker. Okay. That is not ideally what you want to do, but sure. Special mix, add Q, and then Q can give us Ash Blossom. The full bracket available anywhere? I can check for you if there was a bracket. But I don't think so. I don't see it right now. Oh, someone posted it in chat. Okay. Yeah, it's a little weird, but because if you want to summon Ash here, you still do want to synchro with Q somehow. So I guess if we have a level 3 tuner in hand, what we could do is we could make Loudness War with Q plus Ash, and then Mix plus level 3 tuner in hand could make Remix. And then we pass on Remix plus Loudness War. Plus we manipulate the top deck, plus we can add Ash back to hand, which probably works. Or we can just go no Ash Blossom because we do have Effect Veiler in grave already, so that can be our add back off of the remix as well, right? Sometimes in spots like these, I sometimes like summoning Ghost Ogre because you can just leave that on the field and it works, right? Ash Blossom doesn't work from the field, but Ghost Ogre does. That being said, Ghost Ogre doesn't seem like a super important card against Justinian's hand. There's nothing really too hard to counter with Ghost Ogre. Did we see the new cards yet? No, I haven't seen the new cards yet, but we can take a look at them after the finals is over. We can take a look. I already have them open in another tab. We can take a look at them in a bit. Are we just not looking at the top deck here is my question. Because that feels dangerous. So what did Talents return? Probably Pot of Desires. Yes, Pot of Desires was returned. So there's 2 normal summons, a Synchro, the Duelist Genesis, and an unknown card. An unknown card off the top, which is always scary. Because this is not the greatest Cool Tune setup. So they absolutely could get back into this with the right card here off the top. Like a Cool Tune quick play spell or something. And we do Ash Duelist Genesis. I mean, you can hold Ash for whatever the card searches, I think, is also fine, but it's fine. So we probably just make RS here. No, we make a Loudness War. So now we know there's Mix and Rico in hand, and 1 card that was the top deck. Oh, it was another Desires. Oh, that hurts so much. Oh, that hurts so much. Now there's 2 unknown cards. We got rid of that. That's rough. Now we go for Mix. And Loudness War, banish Mix to pop Mix. And Imperm. Okay, but here's the thing. Now, this is so risky. They got 2 new cards. Field Spell, Cool Tune Synchro, Synchro Overtake. So many things they can have now. What is it? Rotary. Field Spell. It's Field Spell. They have it. Oh, no. And now it might all go downhill for Arctic 7. And we actually scoop it up. Oh god, okay. Yeah, I can't help but think that we needed to manipulate that a little bit better. I feel like it was an awkward turn one though. I definitely see, I feel maybe we put too much focus on trying to access Ash Blossom there. As powerful of a card as it is, I feel like not looking at the top deck and just giving them a Pot of Desires like that was really, really dangerous. And it did not end up paying off. Okay, in the other side of the bracket, we are already in game 3 as well. The games are coming quick in this top 4. Let's see what we're working with. Shady versus Airy. They are in game 3 already. And this one is Radiant Typhoon versus Cool Tune. It's going to decide whether our finals is going to be a Cool Tune mirror match or Radiant Typhoon versus Cool Tune. Let's see. Pot of Extravagance is what we start with. It gets hit with Ash Blossom, classic. Activate Chant though. We do have a starter. Get Swen. Swen gets Veilert, classic. Eldam resolves. Okay. Well, that's not a great start for Cool Tune if you just throw two cards at their first 2 plays and then they keep playing all of a sudden. That's not ideal. All right, activate Vision, draw 2, discard Super Polymerization. If that's the worst card in your hand against Cool Tune, then okay. That seems scary. Draw 1 with Mandate. Yeah, discarding Super Poly is very, very scary because it feels like that either they have another copy or, you know, here's the best case scenario. Maybe it was actually the worst card in their hand because Pot of Extravagance. Like maybe it just banished 1 or 2 copies or how many they play from the Sea Monster of Theseus. And it's like, yeah, well, it was actually just not going to be a good card. All right, just 4 cards for Airy, though. Just 4 cards. It does look like an uphill battle, but with the right extender, sometimes it's possible against Radiant Typhoon. But it looks like we don't even have like a Cool Tune Synchro or anything like that. We just get negated on our Rico. That's not great. Now the Rico is still on the field, which is good because it can still use a material from hand, so it still potentially poses the threat. And we do have Rotary to keep going. This is a strong extension. This is a very strong extension for Cool Tune. I also like the decision to not reveal the Rotary for the Rico normal summon, to not show the opponent that we have it. This is just sometimes, I mean, of course, you would think like, yeah, you want to use your extra normal summon, but sometimes giving your opponent that information that you have it is very, very valuable. And now we do get potentially 2 searches and a pop on the back row, which is a lot. Question is, what did we hit with the Rico? Okay, well, we didn't hit the droplet, but we hit another Super Poly. Okay, they had 2 copies. And now, since the Rico was targeting that anyways, we are going to use it as a droplet send. Also confirming the cards in hand, no interruptions. No interruptions in hand for Shady. There's only 1 last face down card. Potentially, eventually a draw from Mandate. But right now, you are good to go. Pot of Desires is really good here. I think the last set is a Mystical Space Typhoon, but you really can't afford to use it on the Pot of Desires because, you know, then you know the field spell is going to be really strong. Oh, but now there's a Zaylin. I think Cool Tune takes this. Unironically, I think they take it. Because now we force the back row out of the way before we commit to the field spell, and then the field spell is just going to come in and go for game. There goes the Phonics. It's banished. I doubt it matters. All right. And now we activate another copy of Cool Tune Synchro. We have another normal summon from the field spell that we know is in hand. Wait, 2 copies of the field spell? Did they get unlucky with Pot of Desires banishes? Oh no, they already have another queue. Okay. Am I tripping? They have 2 field spells now, right? Why did they want a second field spell? Or did they not search one? Oh no, they added Cool Tune Synchro. They didn't add the field spell. My bad. I was confused for a second. Wait, that was very risky then. To an extent, because they activated Desires before grabbing the field spell. If they had lost the field spell, it could have been a big problem. Well, didn't happen, I guess. That's game. That's game. Radiant Typhoon falls, even though they went first with a pretty good hand. I think, maybe, I don't know if they had a Theseus left, but with the Theseus, if the Theseus was still in the extra deck, then sniping the super polymerization with the Rico was a big deal there. For sure. But yeah, that is going to be our finals for today. Is going to be Cool Tune versus Cool Tune. Radiant Typhoon does not deliver today. We've watched it twice. It's lost twice. And Cool Tune stays winning. It is what it is. All right. Finals is going to be Cool Tune versus Cool Tune. We do not need a break, I suppose, for the finals. Because, I mean, both players should be ready by now. We should be kicking off any moment now. And then remember, after the finals is done, I'm gonna stay online a little bit longer so we can take a look at those new cards that were announced. So yeah, stick around if you want to see that. But yeah, we're gonna wait for the finals to start now. All right. At least the Cool Tune Mirror is fast. The Cool Tune Mirror is typically pretty fast, so I would think, I mean, we can tell, right? We've seen some extremely long Branded and Sky Striker games today. And then the top 4 were, as soon as no more Sky Striker and no more Branded was involved, and mostly Cool Tunes, it was just a whole lot faster. So yeah, that is true. Did you see the new fusion they announced last week? I am not sure which one you're referring to. If you tell me a little bit more about it, then maybe it rings a bell. I don't know. Thoughts on the Gores overframe? Oh yeah, I've seen it, but I haven't reacted to it yet, so we can do that too. I kind of missed it on yesterday's stream. I didn't realize it was there. But yeah, we can take a look at that one as well. Mixuzia? Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the TCG exclusive. Yeah, I've seen that one already. But yeah, you are right. The new Gores overframe, I haven't reacted to it yet. I've only seen it, and it does look very, very cool. So we're going to take a look at that in a second. And we also have, I think, 3 new cards that were announced today that we can take a look at. But first, we have a finals to look at between Airy and Justinian. Cool Tune versus Cool Tune. So far, I couldn't really tell many differences in the deck list for both of them. They looked relatively similar. I think we saw a Fallen at the Virtuous in Cool Tune earlier, but I think that was Justinian's opponent. So yeah, we've seen some Pot of Desires in both of their decks, I think. And here we go, game 1 of the finals, Airy versus Justinian. Let's find out who's gonna win this season of the Challenger Cup. And it is Justinian who wins the coin flip in this first game, so is gonna be able to go first. Cool Tune mix. All right, well, that works. Not your best starter, but it is a starter. Most notably, it is one of the weaker starters into a potential Drolan Lockbird, but I think that's a card that has fallen off in popularity at the moment, which makes sense due to the popularity of Branded and because it's not always good against Cool Tune. We do hit the mix with a Ghost Spell, though. I like that because it's typically... I think mix is not a sign of strength for your hand. If your hand is really good, you'd rather open with something else. But you never know. It's never a guarantee. There could be a Psyframe in hand. There could be the Field Spell in hand. There's a lot of potential ways to extend. We Tribute. Oh, Ghost Ogre maybe? Ash Blossom? Anything? Looks like we're resolving it. Question is, do we summon Rico or do we add Q to hand? Technically, it's better to add Q to hand. That's technically more bodies. Is weaker into Droll though, so maybe that's why we decide not to do it. But Rico is still not that great into Droll here. And here's an Effect Veiler. Onto that Rico. Alright, so it is Bell plus Veiler here. Do we have anything to keep going? Oh, Rotary, that's the best case scenario. Okay, we kept that Rotary hidden. We didn't reveal it in the beginning, and that is going to be a crazy way to keep playing here. That I feel like that almost like that almost ends the game, I feel like. Of course, depends on Airy's hand. We could still be looking at like the craziest combination here, but this is basically Airy has used Veiler and Bell to try and stop the opponent from playing, and we still are basically doing full combo now. Because we had that Rotary in hand. Flip, Rotary, Desires. Yeah, this is not cutting it. This is not cutting it. This Desires is not resolving. And the other two don't even play. Well, 2 hand traps equals 0 hand traps? Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that. Sometimes it'd be like that. That's why I after playing Cool Tune at German Nationals, I just want to go back to playing board breaker decks forever. Summoning Ash with Q. This way, we're gonna be able to... Do we have Mix in hand? We kind of need another copy of Mix to end on Remix here. We obviously do have the cool tune synchro in hand, so but I preferably you wouldn't want to use it, but you can. Thinking about it. Yeah, we have to activate the cool tune synchro. We don't have another mix. Okay. That's going to make our end board a little bit worse, but I'm going to be honest with you. Basically what needs to happen here is the queue needs to reveal two really, really strong cards for Aerie to have a chance in this game. Because if there's any mediocre card on the top of the deck, they are not going to be able to play. Because all you have to do is Ash Desires, and the rest of the hand currently does not do anything. So here's Remix. And even if the card is good, here's, look, Mix and Overtake, right? Like we can just potentially, I think it's guaranteed a win, right? You just give them Overtake, even though Overtake is a good card, but you can just give them Overtake, make Zaylin, and then you Ash you activate Remix, summon Rico, add Ash, and then you Ash the Overtake, and you Zaylin in combination with Clip, you can Zaylin the Desires, or the other way around. But we give them Mix, which I find interesting. I also find it interesting that Aerie didn't go for Clip at the end of the turn. But if there's another like Effect Veiler in hand for Justinian or something, then it doesn't really make a difference. Thing is, like, I think summoning Clip at the end of the turn was actually kind of scary. So what do we have? Desires, Mix, Rotary, Clip. If we activate Desires now, they can just chain Remix and then Zaylin the Desires, which is not great. But if you normal summon Mix, they can do the same thing. If you normal summon Mix and you activate it, they can just go chain Remix, chain Zaylin. You can normal summon Mix no effect to threaten Typhon, but then they can still tag out Remix and just synchro with Mix. So I don't see it. I don't see how this is ever winning for Aerie. So now the hand is Rotary, Clip, Mix. Add back Ash. No synchro with Rico. Rico to add, probably Clip. Normal summon Mix. Activate effect. we can Ash this, but they still threaten Trackmaker right now. Veiler. Okay, and now we go summon. We need to summon something now. Oh, no? I guess we don't. We have another Veiler? I feel like if you don't have another Veiler here, you should have just ashed the mix and Veilered the Trackmaker. Because now the Trackmaker was chain blocked. I'm confused. Because now they actually are going to have Rotary plus Q. I mean, you can Ash the Q. You can Ash the Q, but still. Still feels like they got a little further than they needed to. But where do they go from here is the question, because they could make Trackmaker with Q plus Rotary, but Trackmaker has already searched, so it would only be getting a search with Rotary. And the search with Rotary is unlikely to do anything, because you would need the field spell, but you know the field spell is not gonna work. You know the field spell is not gonna work because they have Rico plus Clip. So when you activate the field spell, they can just go Clip into RS and then Rico pop the field spell. So this is actually still... At the end of the day, it might still be calculated here from Justinian because this is fine still. Like, they are still, I think, winning. I don't know why we do the RS so early here. Because I genuinely think it might not be winning anymore. I guess you do make the levels a little awkward. Wait, this just makes B2B now. This just makes B2B now. Double Trackmaker into B2B is insane here. And the last card in hand is Fuba. Oh my god. I think this was okay. Yeah. Dude, this was definitely a guaranteed win. I'm not tripping right now, right? This was 100% a guaranteed win. There's no way around that. There was like 15 different ways we could have done that. And now it's Fuba. And the thing is, like, it seemed like it wasn't important last turn, but the Typhon was ripped with Clip. Because normally, normal summon Fuba make Typhon isn't even that bad here. If you top deck like a hand trap to deal with the Cool Tune Synchro follow-up. Typhon could have been a win con here, but Typhon is gone. No, this is it. This does not do anything. We contributed for mix for JJ, but there's no way you can keep up with B2B. Yeah, literally, just don't give them mix. Just don't give them mix. Just give them overtake. Just let them have let them have Rotary, Clip, Overtake, Desires, Standby Phase, tag out with Remix to make or you don't even have to tag out. Just let them activate Desires, then tag out Remix, negate Desires with Zaylin, and then add Ash to your hand for the other spell. Add Cool Tune Synchro. Activate Cool Tune Synchro. Add Rotary. What do you make? A Loudness War with Rotary and Q? Sure. That should be an attack mode. 1000%, right? It's bigger than B2B. While you have the field spell, at least. I mean, you're unlikely to keep the field spell, I guess. You're unlikely to keep the field spell, but still. Okay, I like that. I like that Loudness War usage to get the target for the B2B out of there. I think that is good. Ash and Ogre on top. Ogre stays on top. Rico. I mean, the deck's gonna be shuffled anyways from Cool Tune Synchro. The issue is just while B2B is there, it is so awkward to synchro summon in the mirror match. It is so awkward. Yeah, they can't do it. They cannot do it. And a game... Oh, time limit as well. Okay. A game that looked over was still turned around. That was crazy. Okay, I did not think that was going to happen. I did not think that was going to happen. I think that was a one game and then it was a lost game all of a sudden. Okay, well, it happens though. It is a hard game and playing in finals can be nerve-wracking, so don't be too hard on the players. It is natural to make mistakes. They are still here. They still have 2 more games to make up for it. They do need to win both now, though, to win the tournament. All right, and it's going to be Justinian going first one more time. Cool Tune Synchro in the draw phase gets met with Ash Blossom Enjoys Spring. And we still have Rotary plus? Plus what? Clip. Okay. Rotary plus clip. Normal summon clip. Normal summon Rotary. Oh, it's a double Rotary or Veiler. That's not an ideal opener. Yeah, double Rotary plus clip makes track... It works. It does work. It plays. It's just not ideal because it loses a lot of cards in hand. Vanishes Crackle, which is usually a one-off but rarely matters. Mix, Bell, Cool Tune, Synchro. Now, here's the thing. Mix is probably the best normal summon to draw 2 of, because if Mix gets stopped with a second Mix in hand, you can still make Track Maker. So it's better than having like 2 Qs or 2 Ricos or something like that, I think. All right, so we've added Cool Tune, JJ Cool Tune, and now we're searching for Track Maker. That is going to be our Q. Okay, so we have Field Spell plus Q. But there is a Ghost Spell in hand. There is a Ghost Spell in hand here for Airy. And we are going to use it on the Q. So if you want to get... I mean, do we still have a normal summon? We don't. We are limited in our options here a little bit by that Bell. Because if you tribute Q now, you likely do not get to manipulate the top of the deck. Which is annoying. Go for Rico. Add Mix. Make remix, set 1. All right, we don't know the top deck. It's an unknown card. The hand so far, mix, and it was a spell. Was it Cool Tune Synchro? That'd be the best case scenario for Airy. I think it was Cool Tune Synchro. And we don't know what the top deck is. Top deck Bell or Called by probably wins. I think, like, the Mix plus Cool Tune... Oh, it was Rico. Wait, Rico was the top deck, right? I'm not tripping. There was no Rico in hand previously. I don't like that. I don't like showing that right away, personally. We add back Q. We special Rico. Probably make Zalen with the Track Maker and the Q. That way we bounce the Rico back to the hand. So the hand is now Mix, Rico, Rotary, and a Cool Tune Synchro after the bounce. Gain Cool Tune Synchro now, giving a perfect opportunity for the Zalen to negate. Or honestly, maybe you don't even have to negate because you can bounce whatever is summoned. But oh, it's Fallen and the okay, that that does not win yet. I think that's... So, what happens here? I think it wins. It depends on how Eri does it. It's now in control of Eri. I thought about a couple of sequencings, and I think there are some that Justinian can beat for sure, but there are also some that Eri can win. But I don't like how we used the Fallen at the Virtues there. I don't think that was good. I think Eri has two options right now. It's either start playing with the field spell or start playing with Rotary. And I think one of them wins and one of them loses. I think this is the one that wins. I think this is the one that can win. It might not guaranteed win, but I think this is the one that wins. Because if you start with Rotary in hand, you guaranteed lose. Because it's Chain Clip, Chain Zalen, negate and destroy Rotary, and then there's an RS on the field that can negate the thing. Now it gets a little bit more tricky. Now from this position on, I think Eri could win, but it really depends. The B2B is really powerful here. The question is, are we locked into synchros yet? We did activate Cool Tune Synchro. It did resolve, so we cannot make Typhon. We cannot make Typhon. If we activate this mix, we lose on the spot because Chain B2B, Chain Zalen. So we can't do that. We go for Remix using Rotary and Mix. We go to Battle, Attack. Not enough. I think Justinian wins. Yeah. Justinian definitely wins. Yeah, but I think in this scenario, I think there was no winning line then for Eri. Because, like I said, if you start with Rotary, it's also losing. So starting with the field spell is better. But it still wasn't winning. And now you can just start playing with the field spell, and as soon as if the remix tries to do anything, then the B2B just extends and yeah. Okay, and we are going to a game 3 between Justinian and Eri in the grand finals, and it's going to be the first time in the finals that Eri is going to have the opportunity to go first. And here we go. Last game of the day. Felt like it was winnable somehow. I don't think it was in Eri's hands there, to be honest. I think there was no option that would do it. All right, normal summon cool tune mix is how we get going in this final game of the finals. And we do use Effect Veiler on it. Now it is Justinian's turn to go second and try to stop Eri from popping off. We do have a response window for this Effect Veiler. Oh, and we have the best possible response. We have Cool Tune Synchro. And, well, probably would have preferred to have an Ash Blossom for the Molchami Fuwalos, for the Cool Tune Synchro, but Molchami Fuwalos resolving is at least nice. That is at least something. Add Rotary. Do not Synchro here. Okay. We don't give a draw here. We activate Pot of Desires next. Draw 2. Okay, so Molchami Fuwalos is active. Activate JJ Cool Tune. Tribute Mix. I think we can do a lot here with just one draw to the Mulcharmy. That one draw, I think you want to give. I think you want to give that one draw to make Trackmaker with specifically Rotary and Q. I think that's what you need to do. So you add Q here. Would have liked to see a mix add, because we still have two normal summons, right? We can go normal summon mix, add Q, and then normal summon Q. Oh wait, no, we already used mix. My bad. We started with mix. We still need Rico in rotation, but that doesn't search Q. Never mind. Yeah, fine. Okay, one draw for Trackmaker, and now we can look at the hand and we can see where we're at. We do chain block the Q and the Rotary. We want those on the lower chain links. We go chain link 3 Trackmaker, so we search first. We did activate a Pod of Desires, so a reasonable question to ask here is how many Cool Tune... Oh. What kind of hand is that? Why are you bringing that to a Finals Game 3? Triple Fallen and the Virtuous and the Field Spell? Man. Well, yeah. That's rough. That's so unlucky. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not winning. That's rough luck. That's really rough luck. Okay. 3 Fallen and the Virtuous, a JJ Cool Tune, and an Infinite Impermanence is the hand that's dealt to Justinian here, and that is not enough. Oh man. Okay, yeah. You know, it is part of the game sometimes. It is part of the game sometimes, and you can't win. You can't win them all. You cannot win them all, and this one certainly was not winnable for Justinian. But congratulations to Airy for a very well-played finals. And I mean, it's not Airy's fault that the opponent didn't have a great hand here. Still a well-played tournament overall from them. So congratulations for becoming this season's Challenger Cup champion. All right. You all, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the day. Hope you had some fun. I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer to take a look at some new cards that were announced. We're just going to end the sponsored segment of the Challenger Cup season finals. The stream is going to stay live. I'm just going to switch to my regular overlays, and then we can take a look at some of these new cards. Just need to get that set up real quick. But until then, I'll just quickly run the end screen, and thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be right back with you for some new card reactions. Okay. And here we are. Here we are. All right, we have two quick things I want to do before I head off for today. And those two things are new cards. And one of which you know me as a fellow Unk, and I am a huge fan of this one because this is one of the, in my opinion, as a competitive player, it might not be one of the most iconic cards around the anime and stuff like that, but in terms of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, this is an overframe version of one of the most iconic cards in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh's history around the 2010s. To this day, I still attack in the best order around Gores. Even though in modern Yu-Gi-Oh no one plays it anymore, I still attack in the order around Gores, and you needed to be playing the game in like the 2010s to really understand what it meant to play around this card, but it is really, in my opinion, one of the most iconic cards in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh's history. So I'm really happy they are acknowledging this and giving it a retrain in the utility selection. So I can't wait to see if this card is actually good. I thought about this a couple of times. If they ever want to make like a battle phase hand trap, quote unquote, I would be a big fan of that. Because I like grind games. I like when games go the distance. And I think like an actually viable battle phase hand trap would be an interesting thing, because you can't really use it to stop your opponent from playing, but something that just like makes it so it's very hard to die, I think would be interesting. Of course, it's without a question that a card like this would need to be incredibly strong to see any play. Like a battle phase hand trap would need to be incredibly strong to even be useful. So let's just see what they cooked up here. Let's just see what the new Gores is up to. Emissaries from Darkness. Level 7 Dark Fiend effect monster. 2700 attack, 2500 defense. So Gore's stats. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you take battle or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, gain 2000 life points. Then you can apply one of these effects. Special summon an Emissaries from Darkness from your hand, deck, or graveyard, or destroy up to 2 opponents' attack position monsters. Okay. So I do like that they kind of like went with a similar approach. Like it is still a battle hand trap, quote unquote. But it's of course a much better upgrade to Gores. Like it's not just, oh, you get a token. You do gain some life points back, which is the least relevant part of the card. What more relevant is also you don't need to have an open board anymore. It's just any battle or effect damage at any point. So there are a couple of ways to trigger this. It's also most notably something you can technically use as a board breaker, because you can trigger it yourself. You can crash a monster into something and then just special this and destroy 2 attack position monsters. I think one of the more interesting things about this card as a board breaker is that it doesn't target and it happens in damage step. So that's interesting, right? Like non-target, destroy 2 attack position monsters, and it's all in damage step, so it's much harder to interact with. Is somewhat interesting. Now, is that good enough for a card like this to see play? I would say unrealistic still, because like I said, the hurdle for a good battle phase hand trap is so high. Like, going first, it's essentially if there's a format that's very interactive and people often use the battle phase to like clear something, then I could see it. But it's yeah. Okay, second effect. During the end phase, if this card was special summoned this turn, you can target a trap in your grave, set it. Okay. That's an interesting effect. I mean, I wasn't sure. I'm not sure why this is here. I'm not sure why this. What does this have to do with Gores? I'm not entirely sure. But okay, this is something that, like, in my opinion, this is a nice bonus to have. It does make it a little bit better in trap decks specifically, but I'm not sure, like, if that's super relevant. But in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it, that can only be a bonus if, like, basically the reason this card would see play is because of the first effect, I think. If the first effect is any good as a board breaker or just generically to back up your board, then the second effect is like kind of a bonus where, like, in some decks, sometimes you get like a random, what's it called? A random imperm back or a random impulse back from the graveyard or something like that, which could matter sometimes. Yeah. Now, you guys are saying there's a couple of things. You can trigger this yourself with effect damage. There are cards that inflict damage to yourself to then trigger this card. I'm not quite sure if, like, because realistically, let's say you're going first with Mitsurugi, and you have Mitsurugi Prayers. You wouldn't want to use this on your first turn, right? You would want to hold it for the opponent's turn, because let's be clear here, the good effect is this one. The good effect is non-target, destroy 2 attack position monsters. That's the good effect. Summoning another copy of itself is just the kind of thing that you would do if you have nothing better to do. I think. at least. Because the way I'm interpreting this card is like, this is supposed to be like a board clear, an interruption, a, you know, something. And of course, like when you go first, this is very mediocre, having a card that only really triggers when your opponent attacks you, because that's just a dead card when your opponent is playing into the board, unless you're playing a deck that has something that your opponent really wants to attack for some damage. But yeah. Make a rank 7 into full malice combo though. Okay, but like drawing Emissary from Darkness plus a way to inflict damage to yourself on the first turn is much, much less likely than just drawing a Malice starter. Like, this is once again a lesson in Yu-Gi-Oh! Card evaluation. Just because something is in theory possible, it doesn't mean it's actually practical. Like, this card is not going to see play as a combo enabler in anything. Like, that's just not what it's good at. That's not really something, like, you're not going to build a deck around an unsearchable, mostly unsearchable level 7 Fiend monster that does nothing unless you enable it with a second card that burns yourself. Yeah, I will say, I genuinely think that they could have made this effect even stronger, and I would have liked that. Because the way I interpret this card is it's like a much more interactive card than other hand traps, because it doesn't just negate. And it also does get, I think, in my opinion, this gets considerably stronger when you're going second than when you're going first. Because going second, you have more control over when you trigger this card. When you go first, your opponent has the control over it. Like, they have to attack you or something to trigger this card. When you're going second and you have the battle phase, you have more control over, do I crash into your stuff to trigger this, to summon this and pop 2 cards? Which is something I like. I like when cards are better going second than going first. It's a cool concept. I just am not sure if the payoff here is high enough for people to actually play it. I think something like maybe destroying all attack position monsters the opponent controls would have been more interesting. Because then I could have seen this be like an actual option for breaking boards going second. But you do have to be careful with it, because like it is on the verge of being a really, really strong board breaker, because it happens in damage step, and that is a lot harder to interact with. So I don't know, maybe it's just fine. Maybe it's just fine the way it is. I'm a fan of it. I mean, I'm already a fan of it just for the artwork. As someone who's like, I love Gore's The Emissary of Darkness, so the fact it's getting a retrain already makes me happy. If I had to guess, it's probably slightly too weak to actually see play. It is very format dependent. It would really need a format that is very grindy, back and forth, and with a heavy emphasis on like battle phases happening. But yeah, it's at least interesting. I just don't know if it's good enough. Yeah. Okay. And then we have a set. We have a set of 3 cards here from Beyond the Brave. So let's take a look at. I don't know if they follow any like theme or anything like that. I haven't seen these. These are from today. We have Mystic Call, a level 5 water spellcaster tuner. So it's this on the left here. It is 1600 attack, 800 defense. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn each. If this card is in your hand or grave, you can discard one other spellcaster or a spell trap, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. This card's normal or special, you can banish a level 4 spellcaster from your deck, and if you do, during the end phase of this turn, add to your hand or special summon it. Okay. I mean, more generic spellcaster support. It doesn't lock you into anything, so you could use it in other decks as well. It is a level 5 tuner, which that could matter for certain decks. It's 800 defense. Wait, is 800 defense the thing you need for Cupid Pitch, or is it 600 defense? It's 600, right? 600 is the Cupid Pitch number. Yeah. It's 600. So it doesn't matter for that. Is there any... Okay, this is a database card. Is there any good spellcaster that you can banish with this? Is there anything that triggers on banished? Like, is there like an equivalent to Tri-Brigade Mercurier or something like that? There's a bad Necros, Ecclesia, Genia of the Ring. Genia of the Ring is what? Adds itself to the hand if it's banished? Alistair. Summon to add the quick infusion. Oh, you're like banishing Alistair and then you move to end phase and summon it. I mean, yeah, it's not a bad card, I would say, because it can work as like a starter / combo enabler for something. But it doesn't strike me as amazing, personally, but it's not bad. It's just that, you know, with a lot of spellcaster support recently, there's always a chance that this fits in a niche that's actually good. I'm just not sure how good exactly it is, but it doesn't seem crazy to me. Cartoon Shade. Oh wait, is this Toon support? It does have Toon in the name. Level 1 Dark Illusion Special Summon Effect Monster. 0 attack, 2000 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand. If a monster that cannot be normal or summoned or set is on the field, you can only special summon it once per turn this way. If this card is special, you can add a monster with 2000 attack or defense from your deck to your hand that cannot be normal summoned or set. If this card on the field is tributed, you can target a card on the field, or up to 2 if you control a monster with 2000 attack or defense, return them to the hand. So... Drytron support? Okay, yeah, Drytron, I was about to ask, okay, like, what deck is this good in? Like, what does this work for? And I think it's Drytron, right? Because Drytron can summon it because they all can't be normal summoned. And it adds also most, if not all of the Drytrons have 2000 attack. And it's a level 1. So it feels like it's Drytron support. Which is weird. It's not what I expected from a card that looks like this. It looks cool, by the way, I think. But I didn't expect to read Drytron support today when I saw it. These are free agents for the Revolution booster. Wait. The Revolution booster was Toon, Unchained, and Witchcrafter? So this one is supposed to be Witchcrafter support. This one is supposed to be Toon support, but what does it do for Toon? Like, what do you search in Toon with this? What's the search target? Toon Dark Magician Girl? Do they even play that? No. Okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't know the Toon deck well enough. I don't know the Toon deck well enough to really make an informed call on whether this is playable in the Toon deck or not. It sounds like it's not good in the Toon deck from what chat is saying, but there's always a chance I mean, they must have thought something when they made it, right? If it's true that these 3 cards are support for these 3 archetypes, then it can't be as simple as this only searches Toon Dark Magician Girl, which is a card that they don't even play. Because that'd be weird, right? They just didn't want to buff it. Okay, all right. Here's the thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe maybe it was planned to be a support card for Toon, but then they changed it because of how strong Toon already is, and because of how I feel like Toon is not a very well-received deck overall in the OCG right now. It seems like it's not really a deck that people like. So maybe they were like, yeah, we shouldn't give it another support piece. And then they just, I don't know, changed it, and now it's a Drytron support. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't seem that great to me in Toons. But in other decks, it could be. It's only an extender, though, to be fair. Okay. And then we have Cursed Paper Retribution, which in theory, if what you're saying is true, this should be an Unchained support card. I don't know if what Unchained wanted was more trap cards, but okay. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn each. Target a monster you control and a face-up card your opponent controls. Destroy your monster, and if you do, negate that opponent's card's effects until the end of this turn. If this set card is sent to the grave, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects. Okay, yeah, that is good in Unchained. Technically, right? Technically, it's good in Unchained. This is unironically, this is a good card. This is just a good card in general. This is not something I'm a huge fan of, actually, but this is just a generic trap that can negate any face-up card. So if you have a monster, you can just negate even spell cards. Which is very interesting. I mean, mainly for decks that want to destroy their own monsters, it becomes even better in that. But it's just like that's just a good card, I feel like. Potentially. It's weird because if you go second, it's a bad card, so it's usually just something that people are probably more likely to play when they're going first. It does have a good effect when your opponent pops it, but honestly, that effect could be much better. It's not really that good. But it's genuinely not a bad card in general, right? The second effect is okay and Unchained. I mean, yeah, you can like you have a lot of control over when you pop it. Like if you set it and you play into a board, you can like pop it with like Shardvara or like what's the other one, Aruha, and so on. And then you can negate a card. But like most of the time, you would rather have another good Unchained trap, right? Like usually. But yeah, it is a good target for Trapaholic sometimes potentially. The second effect is just awkward because the timing on it is going to be very weird a lot of the times, right? Because it's going to be like you destroy it and then it triggers in a new chain, so you can never really like negate any spell cards with this, because by the time, like let's say they activate a spell you care about, by the time you would have popped it and triggered it, it's already too late. So it's only something you can really use to like, you know, it's like, yeah, it's like 5 mana fusing away a Molulu. It's often too late. Sometimes it works though. Sometimes it works. To me, it seems like a good generic card that is just not good enough for people to main deck, but some decks could decide to side deck it for like negation purposes when they go first, right? So yeah. But then again, there's other cards that already did this in the past, theoretically. Like you could just side Solemns instead, but even something like Dracotail Flame is a card that we talked about in the past. Like Dracotail Flame was technically a generically usable card. And some people messed around with it. I think it was mostly in Genesis format where people sometimes just played Dracotail Flame as a way to beat board breakers, and it was okay. And I think this goes into a similar vein like that. But yeah. Honestly, to me, neither of these 3 cards seem that good to actually make a meaningful difference in the decks that they're meant for. Maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is not crazy for Witchcrafter. This is definitely not crazy for Toon. And this is like, I see the uses in Unchained, but it's also not crazy for Unchained, right? Like all 3 of these are just kind of like, okay. There's nothing is terrible here. They're not like bad cards, but all 3 of them to me feel like they're just slightly not good enough to actually see much play. But yeah. The Spellcaster is crazy for Spellcaster slots in general, generic searcher. It's not a generic searcher, though. You banish one from the deck, and during the end phase, you can add it. That is not the same as a generic searcher. Like, I also don't think that is crazy. I think that's not bad sometimes, because you can summon some stuff in the end phase that still has impact on the game. But I wouldn't call that a crazy card. It does say add or special, yeah, but in the end phase, like, yeah, you can banish something and then special it in the end phase, like a Cartesia or something that can then have an impact on the opponent's turn, but I still wouldn't call that crazy. Maybe there's some applications in Witchcrafter specifically that make it a little bit better than I'm not aware of, but just the card itself doesn't seem crazy to me. And once again, just because it's not crazy doesn't mean it's bad. I don't think it is bad. I just think it's like slightly suboptimal. Like it's just not as, and probably most decks are going to find other cards that are better to play, because like it could just be a starter immediately and not just something that you maybe do something in the end phase. But yeah, I don't know. You can summon Floodgates in the end phase, but Jowgen is banned in TCG, so that's good, right? That would have been an absolutely crazy use of the card, is if you just like send it to grave somehow and then bring it back and then banish Jowgen and then you pass turn after you're done comboing and then Jowgen appears on your board. Like that could have been crazy. Oh wait, no, it's level 4 exactly. I thought it was level 4 or lower. It can't summon Jowgen. Okay, never mind. I mean, Jowgen's banned anyways, but yeah, you're right. That makes it less flexible too. But okay, well, I'm sure there's applications for it. It's not a bad card. It just doesn't seem crazy to me. I really don't feel like it's crazy. Okay. And that, gamers, is going to be the end of today's stream. For those of you guys who've seen yesterday's video, you know there's a lot of things going on in my life right now. So the streaming schedule for the next 2 weeks is going to be a little bit all over the place. I'll let you know, as always, on the Discord server whether the streams are happening or not. I don't really know yet. But I'm going to be live sometimes over the next 2 weeks leading up to the European Championship. But the European Championship is like the last big tournament of the season for me. And after the European Championship, there are a lot of weeks where I basically have nothing going on, which I'm really looking forward to. So there's going to be more streams and content over the course of the weeks after the European Championship. Those 2 weeks leading up to the European Championship, I'm going to take it a little bit slower. I'm still going to be live a couple of times, but not the usual schedule. I'll let you know on the Discord server and all that good stuff. Thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope it's not too hot for all of you guys. And yeah. I'll find someone to raid real quick. Let me see who's doing, who's playing some Master Duel. Me. Wait, are you live or are you streaming and in my chat right now, Earl? Yeah, we can raid Earl if you're live. I'll click live. Well, dude, you don't appear in the list of things. How do I raid someone who isn't live? I don't know how that works. I think there's a exclamation mark raid. Yeah, I think it works. Hold up. Does it work like this? The raid has been created. All right, Earl, enjoy your stream. Don't play any rat peers though. If I see a rat peer in your stream, I'll undo the raid. I don't know if you can, but I'll do it. I'll find a way. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye, everybody. Peace.